Head to Knoxville, don't be late. Baker's Live, it's gonna be great. June 5th and 6th, mark your date at Dollywood, we'll celebrate. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. Rides, fun, and meet and greet. Baker and pals, the crew's so sweet. Get ready for laughs, cheers, and thrills. Knoxville's the place, it's giving chills. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. June 5th and 6th, don't miss the fun. Meet Baker and friends, it's second to none. Baker and friends, it's second to none.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are, what if any you might be. Hello, Jamester.
Morning.
How are we doing this fine morning?
I'm still kicking.
Well, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Who are you kicking?
Myself.
Well, stop doing that. But hey, everyone, new case set to start today. Kind of interesting in multiple ways. On the first glance, someone gets stabulated 31 times, is displayed in their living room with rose petals around them. Already kind of weird. Mm-hmm. Some ring camera shows some guy leave the house on a bicycle very shortly after they enter the house, and this guy's DNA is found under the victim's fingernails. Bingo, bango, no more tango. And then we look a little bit about all the other stuff. Look who's really heading for that mod of the year. Because the guy they pick up is a Juilliard-educated pianist. Not the first suspect I have in a red rum case. No connection to the victim at all at the first look. But apparently he had a mentor who used to be married to the victim, who is in a custody battle with this victim. Oh, that's the motive, we then say. But wait, there is more. Because her fiancé, who finds the body, is then arrested. Because he's one of those people who should go meet Lord Chippy. Thousands of cheese pizza, I learned that from Brandon, cheese pizza pictures on his devices. So he is now charged with what could potentially send him to prison for a very, very long time because of hopefully you can figure out what CP is. I can't say it on YouTube.
Yep.
And I was listening to a bit of the motion hearing yesterday. They wanted, because he's going to witness, they wanted to bring it up. Apparently the judge has ruled against it, which I don't understand. Normally you're allowed to hear if a witness has charges against themselves. And as I said in my intro video or recap video this morning, if that comes in, I could see jury nullification on the spot and saying, well done, here's a free meals at Taco Bell for the rest of your life. Because apparently the victim also had, allegedly, possibly, whatever word I need to use, the victim also had pictures on her devices. And the custody battle with her husband is about a young female child. That's called a girl, Jamie. I don't know if you know that.
I wasn't sure.
I was looking for the word. So, what seemed to be just a weird, ritualistic, a ritual, Jamie. What's that called?
Are you
Ritualistic?
Saying ritual? No, I can't. Ritualistic.
Yeah, some kind of weird stuff where they place the body in a certain way.
Oh,
All of a sudden, there's all of this cheese pizza going around.
well, I want to know, like, yeah, I need to know. I feel like they should be able to bring that up because it kind of, you're going to have to give us a picture of.
Near you today, the cat in the...
Of course, Jamie. Yeah, we need to know about this. I think it's they had case law suggesting that they were allowed to, but apparently the judge has ruled against it, which I find very strange because if the motive is the ex-husband made this guy do it, and it is because someone might have touched his daughter, I think this is very important for the case.
Sorry,
It's
my
all girl.
Amazon started talking, and that's why I muted all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It was telling me about the cat in the hat. I don't know how it started talking.
Well, it's because of all the kid stuff we were talking about. Hey, Helen from Holland, and James Bond, and Marissa, and Paula B, and Techno Stacey, Cindy Lou Woohoo, Kiki K. Nope, they can't impeach him. Apparently, I got it from Pretty Lies and Alibis on TwitSwat. He didn't rule on it yesterday. They were supposed to do some more motions today, maybe even impeach a witness or do a Dorbert hearing on a witness before we started. So it's going to be quite interesting.
For sure.
Well, you have to listen to us, not the hearings, Gwenny. Peter 8.
They were making a very good argument. I enjoyed it. I was listening.
Yeah. Had to stop watching Baby Evelyn case, gave me the heebie-jeebies. I'm here for this case after your earlier clip about it. Thanks for the rescue. I couldn't watch that case. I was on the dockets earlier. He was talking about it. I'm glad I didn't sit through that. I couldn't do it because, especially now with the baby Baker in the house. No, not now. So that's not good. Hey,
Baby
Hospice
Baker.
Jess, so good to see you.
Hospice Jess. Yay.
Don't forget the buggery charge. In this case, I don't think there's a buggery charge. Is there?
Burglary? Yeah. A buggery? Buggery?
That's the small entrance. Oh, so there was... okay, I didn't hear that yesterday, that the daughter and the victim were part of the cheese pizza stuff. So I think if that's true, because I saw that she after death had been charged with it. I can't English today. I'm getting something. I've been coughing all day yesterday, and Marissa said, "Oh, you're a man, huh? Always whining." I said, "No, I'm really coughing, and I'm drinking tea so much that it runs through me faster than a beer when you tap the keg." And she said, "Well, all men are just weak. Maybe be stronger." I said, "That's really not supportive." And she said, "You want support? Buy a girder." This is the mods. I think I need Brandon to come into the brain trust to keep all these ladies down. Hey, the sock snatcher. You live in my washing machine. I pop in here and there, but this trial sounds like it's going to make me really mad in so many different ways. I think it might make us mad if we can get into the really bad stuff. Hey, Plushie and Shax. Good morning, Jano. It also goes to the credibility of the witness. Yes, that's the argument they did yesterday. The defense were making very great arguments, especially because there's case law supporting it. Hey, Gloria and McLaughlin. I can't. And Teresa Dierksmeyer. Good morning, Amy. SJC decision comes out at 10. Yes. Jemima is already pressing F5 constantly so we can get it as soon as it comes out. I have a hard time with cases that involve kids. Yes, so do I, but this isn't directly the kid, so it's a little bit easier than the baby thing. The hibbity-jibbities. Yes, I have the hibbity-jibbities. How old is the child? I don't know, actually.
Yeah, the child isn't involved in this case.
Well, she might be in the pictures.
Yeah, but if they allow any of this stuff in, right?
I didn't say that. I said you were always sick. No, you said I was weak because I was a man, and I constantly was craving attention, and I was constantly, "Oh, I don't want to stream today. I'm sick. Marissa, can you take over?" And then you started yelling at me, and then I passed out from the hatred. Jamie is my witness.
Extra. I saw nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is what I have to deal with. Hey, Stephen. Well, I as always, will be cautiously optimistic in the Karen Reed case, if that's the one you're thinking about, because, yeah, I'm not sure that it's going to be the miracle everyone is hoping for. Maybe they will get to interview the jury, but I don't think it'll change much. As always, don't trust the feds, don't trust the courts, trust the defense. Last week I had an infection, and this week I'm just coughing. Have you got vaccinations? Yeah, I've been sick since I got my vaccinations back in the army.
You should have started taking your Zycam, your zinc.
I do take zinc every day, and I have C vitamin in my cup, and I take D vitamin. I take multivitamins, Jamie. I am really trying, because maybe it's also I have these 7 days work weeks. Could be that's why I'm a little run down.
It's possible.
But try telling Jamie and Marissa and Jemima that I want a day off. 2 seconds later, I get a text from Brandon saying, "Lazy again today?" People are so mean. No, exercising is good. I did 45 minutes on the treadmill today with a slight incline. Missing some B12. I take fish oil too. See, Sue finally understands how it is to be me. Well, I can't stay away from the grandkid because he's getting baptized this Sunday. So No stabby day this Saturday because I have to get everything ready.
Aw.
I really do need a co-host. Imagine if I had a co-host who could take over.
Yeah, I know. It's difficult to get.
As Tay says, shake it off. I don't know how you put your fish oil in, but I think you're doing it wrong. Yes, this is the new OnlyFan. This is red hot. Drink lots of water. I'm drinking tea with honey. You volunteer Iris as my co-host. Well, it doesn't really work. She's on her job, and and she'll just yell at someone in Spanish. I never say hi to you. That's correct, Holly Mac. I didn't see you. Are we gonna go or are we not gonna go?
I don't know. I'm just hanging out.
Yeah, just.
Hopefully they bumped up the sound today. It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad, but it was just like it was picked up by the wrong microphone.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Will the court have say they have to hear from the jurors? We don't know. Again, I don't. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't go around trying to say, well, I know, I have special insights, because all the special insight I've seen in the Karen Reed case always kind of is a dud. Not much special insight, more like snake oil being sold. Yeah, I was thinking, why do they have a safety pin in the fire alarm?
Yeah, like, what is that?
Apparently a crack in the glass. But shouldn't they replace the glass if it's cracked?
You would think so. Uh-oh.
Hey, Gata. Welcome. I don't... This is a perfect event to bake. It's really hard to bake while you're covering a trial at the same time. Hey, Celestial.
Hey, Celestial.
Animis OP Buske Parati. Dum Spiro Spero. Space. I don't know what that means.
What are you reading?
The state seal.
Oh. What's it mean, Sue?
Who fell this morning? Get some audio on.
I'm going to rule on the motion, but I just didn't know. I know y'all said council.
I saw Mr. Marchant going through security.
Okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine. Let me get organized up here. Hope everybody had a good evening.
Well, it could be.
One of the first things I wanted to just cover before we start getting into my ruling pertains to the media. And I did look at things, and again, like yesterday, I told you that I wanted to make sure that everybody in the media had looked at my order and that they would abide by it. One of the issues or questions that I keep getting is, can we report contemporaneously Or does the 30-minute delay that is in my order, does that pertain to that? And I thought about it, and I will allow you to report. I don't think I can prevent you from reporting on that. Everything else in the order does stand. I don't think I specifically really addressed that point, but I just wanted to clarify that because I think there's been a lot of questions about that. I am concerned, though, I do not want people coming in and out flurry. I don't need distractions for the jury. Okay? I think that will be the last time that we address anything pertaining to the meeting. But again, I'm thankful that you're here, and our courts are open to the media. All right. I've spent a considerable amount of time looking at case law, these excellent briefs that have been presented to me, your oral arguments, and I am going to grant the state's motion, amended motion in limine, and I'm going to exclude any reference to child pornography involving the victim, her juvenile daughter, I think it's A&P, or Bradley Post. So I'm going to be excluding that, and that also includes the cross-examination of Mr. Post. I will get into that in a moment. I know that we've talked with counsel as far as your ability to do a proper, and he's going to be coming in for a in-camera hearings shortly. I find that it is not relevant under Rule 401 or 2. This evidence has no tendency to make the existence of any fact that is a consequence of this murder more or less likely. It will not assist the jury at arriving at the truth of this murder. The question is, did the defendant commit this murder? And that's the only issue. The child pornography is not relevant, and even if so, I would exclude it under Rule 403 because the probative value is significantly outweighed by, and I know normally we jump to unfair prejudice, and that is part of it, but I would focus on confusion of the issues and misleading the jury. If at some point it does become relevant, then that certainly could be revisited. And again, even if it were found to be relevant, which I don't think it is, it does not come in pertaining to post under 608C for bias. I know that y'all, that was your argument. Certainly you're going to be protected in proffering. But Mr. Post, he's going to stand, or he's going to have his day in court, and he's going to have to, but he is not, he's not pled, and he's not been tried yet.
That's what I understand, that it was on both people in the house devices. So hopefully they will get it in at some point. He has been charged with multiple counts of cheese pizza.
But not this guy, right? Because I kept getting
No.
confused.
This guy is the unaliver. Mr. Post is the fiance that finds her. Then they go to the house, and I think 3 days later, he's indicted on multiple counts of CP. And then this guy is picked up later. He has no connection to them in any way other than he apparently knows her ex-husband.
Yeah.
So that's why it's such a weird case.
It is.
The Post guy, this guy has nothing to do with CP, but the Post guy will come in and testify, and I think he will even have, they will have him testify before the court starts, but they are not allowed to bring it up, and I think that's a wrong ruling.
I think it is.
He's not a co-defendant.
You should be able to question
An
vaguely at
eyewitness
least.
to the actual crime.
Yeah.
He basically found the body of his girlfriend, fiance.
No, only the fiance, and allegedly the victim also had it on her devices. Nothing to do with the suspect who is on trial in this case.
And he's going to be here testifying under subpoena. And it's my understanding he's testifying to finding the body, reporting the murder, which is corroborated by the...
Because it could be a potential motive if the daughter is part of the CP.
911 phone call investigator. The victim was his girlfriend, and he is a victim of harassment. He does have serious charges against him, but these are pending again, and he's innocent until he's proven guilty, and he will have a trial. Also, the Attorney General's office will handle this trial, not the Greenville Solicitor's office. He's not a cooperating witness. He's not providing any type of inculpatory, I guess, evidence linking the defendant to the crime. So they're not offering him in any way to like I said, to inculpate the defendant and of any kind of wrongdoing or indication of guilt. I also looked at State v. Smith, State v. Mitchell, State v. I can't pronounce this, Beesry or whatever, Pradubsri, and I don't find that the bias issues that were in those cases are in play
This guy isn't connected to them at all.
here. I also reviewed, I think it's Delaware versus something. I think it's Van something, but
Parcell.
Thank you. Defense can ask Mr. Post if he has any pending charges, but not go into the specific charges. Certainly on the proffer, there will be certain allowance, but I do have the right to impose a limit on the scope of defense counsel's cross-examination and not violate the confrontation clause. And that would be under the another wonderful hard pronunciation, but the Friedrich, F-R-E-I-T-E-K-H case. Also, it would be consistent with Rule 611A. Okay. And I don't think I have anything else to add to that. Anything from the state?
Yes.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor. So your wish now is to allow Brad Post to offer his testimony. And for the record, Your Honor, what is the purpose of his proffering? So to allow the defense a cross-examination?
Yeah,
pertaining to
and
the
you're
ruling
gonna
that you just made?
ask the questions that you're gonna ask. Even though I know that you've indicated that you did not feel that was necessary, but I think that allows them to have cross-examination on that. Counsel for Mr. Post will be here. I will have to, I guess, rule if he does assert the Fifth Amendment, then I'll have to rule at that time under whether or not it's just facially prejudicial to him, or if somehow in a chain of events it could, be something improper to be used. Okay, but they still have the right in proffer to ask it to protect the record. Limited. Thanks.
And that's in conjunction with your ruling, Your Honor?
Huh?
Their cross-examination under this proffer still needs to be in conjunction with your ruling?
Well, the proffer, I'm going to allow them to at least ask what he has been arrested for, but that will not be asked to the jury. They can ask him, obviously, that he's here under arrest. When they do the in-camera, or when we do the in-camera, I'm going to have counsel for Mr. Post. I'm just going to ask them to sit over here. Mr. Marchant, you're here? Okay. Do you got your other cohorts? I'm ready to go. Okay. Anybody else coming?
South Carolina.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we just need to wait until he's here. Anything else, Solicitor?
No, his DNA is found under the victim's fingernails.
Thank you, Your Honor, for that clarification.
Anything from defense? Did y'all?
Not right now, Your Honor.
Okay.
I think Mr. Marchant said we can proceed without Mr. Ariel, if that's okay with Your Honor.
No, that's perfectly fine. I just wanted
If
to
we
be
can
sure.
get the timeline of the jury be here at 10, and if we can get through this, hopefully start this trial.
That'd be nice.
Bring up Mr. Post.
Yes, sir.
Now we're going to have a pre-trial hearing of Mr. Post.
Well, didn't he deny letting any of that stuff in? So what are they going to
No.
be?
He denied them asking specifically about the CP, but they are allowed to ask questions about him being arrested
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff like that.
Okay,
But they can't say CP.
gotcha.
Hey, Divergence.
Appreciate you being here. We're going to,
I need to swear him in.
oh, I'm sorry.
I was waiting for Cheryl to get the exhibits. Please place your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
We have seen him. Put the camera back on him.
There's no jury here. So the purpose of these proceedings is to present your testimony so the judge can hear it, and the defense counsels will have an opportunity to cross-examine you.
What? Why don't they show? This is a open court proceeding. Why isn't he shown on? Oh, at least we can hear the audio. Is this one of these cases again?
No, I don't know what they're doing.
Well,
Because we saw everything in Murda, so this isn't a state that they're like, nah.
oh, he said in camera. Well, they must have muted the audio. I can't understand why we're not allowed to hear his testimony. It's nothing. This is annoying.
Yeah, because I thought he said before we started that he was okay with it.
Yeah.
Because it was on a delay, but he said something about it was okay to tape it or
What? I don't know what's happening. Bum 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 bum. Turtle Boy has announced the ruling. Of course it's denied. Who didn't see that coming?
Yeah, I saw that coming a mile away.
Don't trust the feds, don't trust the courts, trust the defense. Everyone else who have been selling you, oh, this is going to change, never. Sadly, that's how Massachusetts work. So, the feds won't save her, the judges won't save her, she just have to prepare for another trial. So, that's how it is. Not a big surprise, but I know a lot of people have started up with, the feds. Of course, it's up to you if you want to believe it or not, but I'll just caution you and say a lot of people were saying it's never going to go to trial the first time, and it will. And it will go to trial the second time. Until you see handcuffs go around wrists, everything is on the track to another trial. Nothing. It was the Supreme Court. Yep. So Karen, apparently, well, I can see it now if that's what she's sharing. Because we have nothing else to do.
Yeah, I agree, Stephen. The jury clearly stated during deliberations, they had not reached an unanimous verdict on any of the charges. That's not true.
The defendant challenges the denial of a motion to dismiss after a first trial ended in a mistrial. Although Karen Reed commenced this action by filing a petition in the county court for convenience, we refer to her as the defendant. The trial was lengthy, spanning 8 weeks of evidence involving 74 witnesses and 657 exhibits. The defendant does not contend that this evidence was legally insufficient to support a conviction on any of the charges which would preclude retrial. The record submitted to the single justice and now before this court does not contain transcripts of the testimony or the exhibit from the defendant's first trial. Instead, her argument focuses on whether the trial judge properly declared a mistrial and the relevance, if any, of post-trial accounts of jury deliberations. The jury deliberated for 5 days, sending progressively insistent notes to the judge about their inability to reach a unanimous verdict. In their third and final note, the jury stated that some members firmly believe that the evidence surpasses the burden of proof establishing the elements of the charge, while others did not. They described their views as rooted in sincere adherence to their individual principles and moral convictions, and stated that further deliberations would be futile and would force them to compromise these deeply held beliefs. Based on these final notes, the judge declared a mistrial. The defendant's motion to dismiss and this petition rely on post-trial accounts from several jurors. These accounts suggest that during deliberations, the jury unanimously agreed that the defendant was not guilty on 2 of the three charges and were deadlocked only on the remaining charge. The defendant argues that a mistrial was thus not manifestly necessary because the judge could have requested a partial verdict from the jury before discharging them. The defendant further asserts that these post-trial accounts show she was, in effect, acquitted of 2 charges and that double jeopardy bars retrial on those counts. This petition thus raises the question, can post-trial accounts of jurors' private deliberations that are inconsistent with their public communications in court render the declaration of a mistrial improper or constitute an acquittal, where the jury did not announce or record a verdict in open court? We conclude that they cannot. The jury clearly stated during deliberations that they had not reached a unanimous verdict on any of the charges and could not do so. Only after being discharged did some individual jurors communicate a different supposed outcome, contradicting their prior notes. So, such post-trial disclosures cannot retroactively alter the trial's outcome, either to acquit or to convict. Accordingly, we affirm the trial judge's denial of the motion to dismiss and the defendant's request for a post-trial jury inquiry. The motion filed by the American Civil Liberties Union of Massachusetts seeking leave to file an amicus curiae brief is hereby allowed. Background. Trial and deliberations. In 2022, a grand jury returned 3 indictments against the defendant: rder in the second degree, manslaughter while operating a vehicle under the influence, and leaving the scene of personal injury resulting in death. Trial began in April 24 and lasted over 2 months. On the 37th day, the jury received instructions regarding the 3 indictments and 2 lesser included offenses for count 2, involuntary manslaughter and motor vehicle homicide. Before deliberation began, the judge indicated that the foreperson of the jury would be given separate verdict slips for each of the 3 indictments. The judge then explained the procedure for delivering the verdicts. After the final vote of the jury, the foreperson should check the appropriate boxes as to each charge, then sign and date the verdict slips and notify the court officer that you have reached a unanimous verdict. You will then be brought back into the courtroom where the foreperson will deliver the verdicts to the court. The judge also instructed the jury to continue deliberating until you have reached the final verdict on each charge. and to not disclose their numerical standing or progress to anyone, including the judge. Before such time as you have reached a unanimous verdict, the jury then began deliberations. 3 days later, after approximately 19 hours of deliberation, the foreperson submitted a note to the judge that stated, I am writing to inform you on behalf of the jury that despite our exhaustive review of the evidence and our diligent consideration of all disputed evidence, we have been unable to reach a unanimous verdict. After reading the note into record, the judge requested argument from the parties on whether the jury had conducted due and thorough deliberations warranting a so-called Thury-Rodriguez charge. And this is where what the Thury-Rodriguez is. The Thury-Rodriguez charge is a model instruction given deliberation that is designed to urge the jury to reach a verdict by giving more serious consideration to opposing points of view. Once a deadlocked jury receives the Thury-Rodriguez charge and resume their deliberations, they shall not be sent out again without their own consent. The Commonwealth argued that the jury had not deliberated long enough, while the defense disagreed, requesting the instruction and asserting that the foreperson use of the word exhaustive suggested an impasse. The judge determined that further deliberation was appropriate and instructed the jury to continue. Deliberation extended through the afternoon and resumed the following Monday morning. At 10:45, the jury foreperson submitted another note to the judge which stated, despite our commitment to the duty entrusted to us, we find ourselves deeply divided by fundamental differences in our opinion and state of mind. The divergence in our views are not rooted in the lack of understanding or effort, but deeply held convictions that each of us carry on ultimately leading to a point where consensus is unattainable. We recognize the weight of this admission and the implication it holds. Weird language for a jury foreperson. Upon receiving this note, the judge again invited argument from both parties. The Commonwealth acknowledged that the jury had already deliberated in the vicinity of 22 or 23 hours, although the transcript does not state the precise time that deliberations resumed on Monday morning. Based on prior proceeding, it appears the jury had deliberated closer to 24 or 25 hours at this point. But nonetheless argued it was premature to conclude that deliberation had been due and thorough. Defense counsel, however, maintained that the jury was hopelessly deadlocked and again requested the Thury-Rodriguez instruction. The judge agreed with defense counsel, noting that the jury had been extraordinary and that she had never seen a note like this reporting to be at an impasse. The judge then delivered the Thury-Rodriguez instruction to the jury and sent them back to deliberate further. At approximately 2:30, the foreperson submitted yet another note to the judge, which stated, despite our rigorous efforts, we continue to find ourselves at an impasse. Our perspectives on the evidence are starkly divided. Some members of the jury firmly believe that the evidence surpasses the burden of proof establishing the elements of the charge beyond a reasonable doubt. Conversely, others find the evidence fails to meet this standard and does not sufficiently establish the necessary elements of the charge. The deep division is not due to lack of effort or diligence, but rather a sincere adherence to our individual principles and moral convictions. To continue to deliberate would be futile and only serve to force us to compromise these deeply held beliefs. After receiving the third note, the judge informed counsel that the jury is at an impasse. The jury were called back into the courtroom and the third note was read aloud into the record. Upon reaching the final line stating that further deliberations would force the jury to compromise these deeply held beliefs, the judge addressed the jury saying, I am not going to do that to you folks, and declared a mistrial. The judge then discharged the jury back into the deliberation room, explaining that she would meet them there privately to thank them for their service. The judge and the parties remained in the courtroom to discuss their availability for scheduling a status conference on the matter. At no point during this discussion did defense counsel object to the judge's declaration of a mistrial or express disagreement with that outcome. According to affidavits submitted by defense counsel, a member of the deliberating jury contacted defense counsel on July 2nd after noticing inaccurate reports about the jury's alleged split that caused a mistrial the day before. Juror A stated that the jury had unanimously agreed that defendant was not guilty on count 1. murder in the second degree, and count 3, leaving the scene of personal injury resulting in death. 2 days after the mistrial, defense counsel also received screenshots. A screenshot is a copy of an image displayed by a computer screen. I don't know why that's a footnote. Of the text message exchange with jurors or their acquaintance describing the deliberations. In one exchange, another member of the jury, Juror B, wrote, It was not guilty on second degree and split in half for the second charge. 1 month later, Jury B contacted defense counsel to confirm the content of this exchange and further asserted that the jury had unanimously agreed the defendant was not guilty on count 3 as well. In another exchange, an individual referred to as an informant by defense counsel was advised that another juror, Juror C, had told friends there was no consideration of murder in the second degree and that the jury deadlocked on the remaining charges. The exchange contained no mention of count 3, but it stated that manslaughter started polling at 6-6, then ended deadlock. 4 no, 8 yes. Juror C has also reportedly stated that the jurors had a group text going. Upon receiving this information, the informant commented, if they all agreed on no for murder too, they should make that clear to the DA and the court. It's basically a case of double jeopardy if she's retried on that charge. On July 8th, 1 week after the mistrial, the defendant filed a motion to dismiss based on these post-trial accounts. The defendant argued that the accounts showed the jury had effectively acquitted her of counts 1 and 3. She further contended that the judge's mistrial declaration was improper for these 2 counts and requested, at minimum, a post-verdict inquiry to confirm whether the jury had agreed she was not guilty of those charges. Defense counsel later supplemented the motion with accounts from 2 additional jurors. One juror, Juror E, stated that the jury had been deadlocked only on the lower charges on count 2. The other juror, Juror D, stated that the jury's disagreement solely concerned count 2 and its lesser offenses. Juror D indicated that the jury had debated whether to inform the judge of their decision on counts 1 and 3, but they were uncertain if they were allowed to do so. Juror D claimed that after discussing the matter, the jury ultimately decided to inform the court that they were deadlocked, and they expected they would get further instructions about the remaining decided counts thereafter. The Commonwealth also submitted a post-trial filing notifying the court that after the submission of defense counsel's affidavit, it had received 2 voicemail messages from a member of the jury. The juror specified that the jury had voted not guilty on counts 1 and 3, and as of last vote 9-3 guilty on the lower level manslaughter case. The Commonwealth also received email messages from 3 individuals who identified themselves as jurors and asked to speak anonymously. Once the Commonwealth informed them that it may be required to disclose the substance of their communication to defense counsel or the court, however, the jurors declined to communicate further. The trial judge denied the defendant's motion to dismiss after a non-evidentiary hearing. The judge reasoned that because there was no open and public verdict affirmed in the open court, rendered in this case, the defendant was not acquitted of any of the charges, and that any post-trial voir dire of jurors would involve an impermissible inquiry into the substance of the jury's deliberation. Additionally, the judge rejected the defendant's argument that declaring a mistrial was improper. She noted that defense counsel had twice requested the jury Rodriguez instruction, the final step preceding a mistrial, and raised no objection nor made any request to be heard when the mistrial was declared. The judge remarked that defense counsel were no shrinking violets during the trial, making it unlikely that when counsel heard that the jury was at an impasse for a 3rd time and a mistrial was inevitable, at perhaps the most crucial point in the trial, counsel would sit silently if they did not consent to a mistrial. She also concluded that, in any event, the mistrial was manifestly necessary given the jury's repeated statements of deadlock. On September 11, the defendant filed a petition for relief under blah, blah, blah. Although a defendant ordinarily is not entitled to interlocutory review of the denial of a motion to dismiss, we have recognized a narrow exception to see the general rule in the context of double jeopardy claims. The Commonwealth does not contest that interlocutory review is appropriate in the circumstances of the instant case. A single justice of the court reserved and reported the matter without decision to the full court. At the time this matter was reserved and reported, the defendant's retrial was scheduled to begin January 27th. The retrial has since been continued until April 2025. Whew. But again, nothing in here that they are just following along with what Bev said. You could just have objected. There's nothing to do, which isn't the big surprise. We were talking about it earlier, and maybe you could have gotten an interview with the jury, but most likely not, because it has been ruled on. So, conclusion: for the reasons stated above, the trial judge correctly denied the defendant's motion to dismiss and request for a post-trial jury inquiry. The case is remanded to the county court for entry of a judgment denying the defendant's petition for relief. So, no surprises again. Well, again, read the text in the Tully Rodriguez. The Tully Rodriguez clearly states, when this has read, they will not be sent back again. And that's why I understand why the defense wanted a mistrial. And as soon as you read the Tully Rodriguez, you get a mistrial if they can't agree after that. So that's why they weren't asked to come give them any input, because it's part of the Tully Rodriguez. Well, the rose petal and pianos, I don't know what's going on. She did. They got to talk twice, and then they got the Tully Rodriguez. That's the problem, because the Tully Rodriguez clearly states this will be the last thing. After this, they will never be sent back again. And that was the big problem, especially because the defense asked for it twice. So I think that's why the Supreme Court votes with Bev. Well, they are not. That's the big problem. Her constitutional rights have been protected. She has a trial, and she's going back to trial. So her constitutional rights, because she has the right to a fair trial. She can't get it in Massachusetts, but that's her right. She doesn't have a right to question the jurors after a trial. That's not part of the U.S. Constitution. But she has the right, and she will have a second trial. Because I think, is it the Fifth or the Sixth Amendment that says you have the right to a fair trial where you can be judged by your peers. So it was already a long shot when they filed it. But with the text of the Tully Rodriguez, there wasn't that much of a hope for anything like this to overturn the case. That's why I say, don't trust feds, judges, other than when you see the handcuffs go on. No. The problem and what they can use against him here is the defense asked for the Tully Rodriguez. The Tully Rodriguez clearly states, after this has been read, they will be sent back one more time and never more. That's why she can sneak out of it and say, well, I did what the Tully Rodriguez demands me to do. I dismissed the charges, or I dismissed the case and said, we'll try again. No, because that got fixed, and they said, well, that's okay. The defense allowed them to just change the jury forms, and I think one of the big problems is in these jury forms it states, "Come back when you agree on all charges." It doesn't say you can fill out the papers as you go along. You have to agree on all charges, but the defense can't really complain because they got what they wanted. They got the not guilty ticker on the piece of paper. Well, the Supreme Court isn't agreeing with you. They say this is totally proper because the jury didn't state that we are deadlocked on each charge. They just said we are deadlocked. So if she had to poll them, the Supreme Court doesn't think so. She read the Turi Rodriguez motion was read again. You don't poll the jury if they are deadlocked. And I don't think she would have allowed them to say, ask any questions about, are you agreeing on some points? I've never seen that in a case before. So I can't. The defense could have objected at the time, yes. That's the only thing I can see they could have done, especially with this ruling from the Supreme Court, because it's clearly that they didn't object at the time that they hang on to. And no matter if the jury had been sent out, they could still object. I don't know. This is a big problem. Reading what the foreperson wrote, when we listened to it, it sounded really weird. But yeah, they are too good, these, because again, had it been me, I would have said, we can't agree. I wouldn't have sat there and said, thou honor, how to count the ways we are but locked dead. No, you would just write, Your Honor, the jury is hung, we can't figure out where to go. We never ever hear Shakespearean language like this in a case where the jury, and again, I've never seen before, but apparently it's okay in Massachusetts to pick the foreperson. But how can you pick the foreperson before you dismiss alternates? That's a big problem for me. Yeah, but I would say that they should kick the alternates before they pick the foreperson. So you pick from the pool, but I don't know how it is. Yeah, and they need to have someone who knows every little bylaw in the Massachusetts system, because there will be multiple shenanigans. There will be hanky-panky. There will be all the crap we saw from Lally and even more. And they just have to be on top of it. I don't think that Bev loves Hanky as much as he loved Lally, which could be good for the defense. She didn't ask for input before bringing the jury back in, though. Didn't I just read that she did? I believe that it said that. Note 3. Yeah, after note 3, but that was after the Turi Rodriguez instruction was given, and the Turi-Rodriguez motion states, the Turi-Rodriguez charge is a model instruction given when jurors report deadlock after due and thorough deliberation that is designed to urge the jury to reach a verdict by giving more serious consideration to opposing points of view. Commonwealth v. Pianist, 457 Massachusetts 812-827 2010. Once a deadlock jury received the Turi-Rodriguez charge and resumes the deliberation, they shall not be sent out again without their own consent. So, technically, she doesn't have to ask either side about anything because the Turi-Rodriguez charge clearly states that this is the final time you will be sent back unless you feel you can reach another agreement, which is stupid because why should they then come back and say we are hung? So the problem is that the Turi-Rodriguez clearly states this is the final straw. I'm going to be buttlock soon when things go south. Interesting. I think the biggest problem with her instructions was they must agree on all charges before returning a verdict, and which is BS. That's why they got confused, because they are hung on one of them. Well, the OUI is kind of a drunk driving. I don't know. She read the note without the jury present, then brought them in, which created this situation. Then she declared mistrial and rushed them out. No, the Turi-Rodriguez was given. The Turi-Rodriguez was given after the second note, after the defense asked for it twice. That's why when she came back, she could dismiss them. It's how it is. It's a stupid law they have. Well, it's not a stupid because in other cases they will just keep sending them back. So the Turi-Rodriguez is what the Turi-Rodriguez is. This is the final straw, and the defense asked for it twice. So they should be prepared that there won't be anything else after. I think you might be mixing two things as well, because again, it's read into the notes. The Turi-Rodriguez is read into the note, and she then tells the jury, I won't force you to stay longer, which is in accordance with the Turi-Rodriguez ruling that they can't force them to go back there. That's why she declared a mistrial. So, and like it or not, the Supreme Court rules that that's how it is. I don't agree, but I can't change it. And I know it won't change that people are pissing and moaning over it for the next 3 days. Won't change anything. That's why I say get ready for April 1st, where the trial starts again. Be ready to do another trial. No one is saving Karen Read other than her defense team. There won't be any feds. There won't be any special Department of Justice people running around spying in people's hedges and looking in their trash. I know a lot of people will sell you all the snake oil. It gives you great numbers. I am an eternal pessimist. I'll sell you what I believe is the truth. I know it won't give me as many views and as many likes as just saying, well, Karen Read will be free Monday because there's this new trial thing that happened, and the DOJ, I heard they are in town. They were at D&E Pizzas yesterday, and oh my God, I have it from a very secret source. No, it won't. I'm sorry. The sun still rises in the east and settles in the west. No matter how many times people lie to you, it won't change reality. Karen Read needs to be 100% ready to go April 1st. She has a great team, that they have gotten even better with a guy who can understand the technical stuff. That's what we have to count on. Don't let all these people tell you everything else, because they don't really have anything else to say than just rumors that they make up to try and get you to watch their channels. I know pessimist streaming isn't as good as optimist streaming, but in reality, the only person who can save Karen Reed is Karen Reed and her defense team. Bev won't help, the DOJ won't help, the FBI won't help, the magic snow wizard won't come down and tell you how he sprinkled all the tail light 3 weeks after. And the jury will probably be made up of stupid people like the last time, because there's clearly no doubt she's innocent. But still, never ever, hope and beliefs is something we have in church. We have to contend with reality in this case. And reality is another arrow in the quiver has been removed. It will go to trial. All should be prepared for that. It doesn't matter how much we wish it were different, how much we believe the law says something else. Rulings are rulings. We can't get Bev off the bench. We can't make Jen sit for perjury charges, even though she clearly changed her statements. We can't make Brian Higgins get perjury charges. We can't do any of that. All we can do is spread awareness about this trial, because sadly, Massachusetts is how Massachusetts is. It's a place I wouldn't like to be on trial. Yes, which is okay by the Supreme Court, because there wasn't a reason to ask the defense if they were okay with a mistrial, because the Turi Rodriguez motion clearly states they won't be sent out again by the behest of the judge. That's the excuse she will use, and that's the excuse the Supreme Court uses. Hey, Alice Nurke Cloud. Yeah, they are interviewing the fiance, the guy with the cheese pizza on his devices. They are not allowed to ask him about the cheese pizza, but they are allowed to ask him about charges against him. Could have been really interesting to watch. Sadly, we're not allowed to do that. No. I believe they tried it, but again, what will change? Nothing. You'll have the same bad witnesses. You'll have the same shady judge, because Bev will follow the trial. I'm sorry, I'm the one who's raining on everyone's parade. But all these people who will tell you every day online that tomorrow, just wait. You should really consider, are they lying to you? How many tomorrows have you gotten since February 2 years ago when Karen Reed started? Isn't it funny how tomorrow is always the day they're waiting for? I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a negative Nancy that I don't believe all the BS people have been spilling out there. But I remember a certain YouTuber who got 10,000 subscribers in a week because he had special insights. He had secret sources. He had a team of 5. Nah, he didn't. He was just selling snake oil because everyone wants to have hope. Sadly, reality is this is just gonna go the same way it did the first time. A lot of BS and a lot of shenanigans. No, allegedly her ex-husband did it. I wanted the cheese pizza to get in there because someone in my chat, I didn't see it in the reports I read, said that some of the cheese pizza was with her daughter and her on it. I'm pretty sure that if the jury found out about that, jury nullification could happen like this, because cheese pizza isn't a favorite pizza in many courtrooms. And if they're not allowed to put in that Post is allegedly a fan of that cheese pizza, maybe, I don't know if they can get in that the victim might have done something. I know you can still not legally unalive someone just because of that, but I also know that people fall all the time after other inmates find out that they are into that stuff. Maybe that's why we're not seeing this guy. Yes, after a verdict. There was no verdict. So no polling was necessary. She's getting set free by Trump next week and making himself acting governor. I'm pretty sure that's not how. I don't know much about love, but I'm pretty sure that's not how America works. He can only do federal cases, not state cases. But I don't know. Yes, I know the feds are there. They gave them a report on 3,000 pages, but they won't save Karen Reed. Everyone sold you that fake crap on the first case. This will never go to trial. The feds will swoop in and arrest everyone. I can name at least 3 streamers who gave you that line. All of these 3 streamers should probably not be people you watch anymore, because that's BS. I know the feds are there because they got Sandra Burke. Why can't I remember? They just got Farnham, whose case just got punted again. So we know the feds are there. We know it's a corrupt hellhole. But don't trust the feds to save anyone. That's the thing that I am always advocating, because people are sitting here saying, well, the feds are in town. Yeah, they've been in town for 3 years. How much have they saved? Well, they turned over the Archie evidence. Yeah, but they also, the DOJ replied that they didn't see the case the same way that the state did. How the heck didn't they stop it then, if they have the smoking guns? And we're not talking about the old wrestling tag team. Why didn't they stop them if they are so hell-bent on saving her on the second trial? I'm just saying, if once bitten, twice shy, isn't that what they sing in the worst Christmas song ever? They can, in special circumstances, they can do something. But they could arrest Morrissey. They could arrest half the police force because they are so bad at their job. I don't know. I know they got... Yeah, because everyone is on a government paycheck. So everyone can be charged with out-of-state fraud crime. Especially those people who were on the cold case who got drunk. Because when you're on the government dole and you do something, you because the money comes from out-of-state, that's an enhancer to charges against you. I can't remember, is it wire fraud or whatever it's called? which is a funny way that you can use that against you. But again, why is there no state charges against the people who groomed kids in the volunteer program? Birchmore, exactly. I think so too. I think it was the weirdest we ever heard. But it must have been read to them when they prepared because normally when you read it's not, Bev isn't the one writing everything. They have the jury instructions is a collaboration where the state and the defense argues what should be there. And I don't know if the sheets wasn't at that could be really interesting to find out if the verdict sheets wasn't attached to the jury instructions when they argued them, because then, well, we know she tried to hide it. What is the best breakfast? It's oatmeals. And why is it corned beef hash? It's not. No, and that's why everyone who will tell you the feds will save Karen Reed are wrong. Spoken by a former president. I just don't know why. You have the Birchmore case, you have the Garcia case, you have the Karen Reed case. You have that guy who, I don't know how much it's the same, the guy who they emptied all their pew-pews into. And I know people say, well, it was excessive. You empty your pew-pew because you don't know if he's going to get up again. But we know he had mental problems. People are saying that case is a little sus. I can't remember the name right now. But you have all of these cases, high-profile cases, clearly some shenanigans going on in the police force. Why are we looking for the feds? Why don't you petition your governor? Well, she's a friend of Morrissey. Yeah. She just got reelected, right? Why everyone should be writing her every day. Everyone should be trying to get her to step in and do something about her corrupt police in her state. Justin Root, yeah. But there's so many cases in such a short time, and again, we're not just talking about slight oversights by the popo. We're talking about massive cases, which should get attention. And again, the Karen Reed case, hundreds of thousands of views every time there's just a stupid hearing that lasts 15 minutes. Sadly, nothing happened really in the Senator Birchmore because it's federal, but still, there's an upswelling out there with people covering it. All of this should, if a politician is a little smart, should make them think, for my own future, I should probably try and get ahead of this. Yeah, I can't really go and get some cough medicine because I don't know when this starts. I don't really have a cold, I'm just coughing. Yeah, and that's what I said when I read the motion yesterday. It doesn't matter if you need 50 people to a cover-up, because you don't need it in a corrupt system. In a system where people only get as far as these people does and stay for as long as they do because it's part of the culture. The people who won't be part of it will leave almost instantly. The cops that's left in a system where the leaders of the system is this bad, they will turn bad. And the next generation will be worse, and the next generation will be worse. And so, and so, and so, it continues. It's a family business. Everyone, uncles, dads, sisters, are somehow connected to either the fire department or or the or the police department. That's very dangerous when you have these leaders of those departments with such low morals. Well, his hostage video was very, very strange. Very strange. Yeah, but it's not that because it's very, very wet outside. It's just because I have something. I don't know. It's I'm just not surprised that nothing will come from any of this. That the only thing we'll see is more of the same BS regurgitated over and over and over and over again until someone does something drastically in Massachusetts. Because too many people are in bed with too many people, and that clearly distorts justice. There are too many friends, there's too many shakedowns, there's too many handouts that's based on who you know and why you know them. And when you have a system like that, that system will never be fair. Yes, and because you get your family members in there, you teach them the same bad manners, and they get, and they get, and they get. So that's a big problem. Are we ever going to start this trial? They're supposed to start 41 minutes ago. Well, plus a half-hour delay, yeah. Then 15 minutes ago. Too many drunks in power, too many power drunk. Yeah, where everyone knows your name, but they're never glad you came in this case. But you can see it. You have a family member on the city council. Well, Big Bry is retired now. And then their brother is at the Canton PD. Brian was at the Boston PD. It's almost like they make sure that they're positioned so they can always cover each other's butts. Well, it wasn't that perfect because I'm just still sitting here. But yeah, nothing happens in this case so far. I still don't understand why we can't see him. It's Oh, invoke the fifth a lot. Thank you, Jemima. 11-ish. So that. Yes, he's a Juilliard-trained pianist. Apparently very good at, I believe it's Beethoven. So he is a professional musician. Yeah, maybe I should have some more Malort. But again, as soon as something else is going on the screen, I'll go get me some cough medicine. That's probably what I need to do. Because it's this dry, irritating cough. It's not like where I need to cough up something. And I can't really... I do have cough drops, but I can't sit here and speak while I have my mouth filled with cough drops. So if Court could just come back and they could start speaking, so I don't have to do it. Because Jamie went on a special mission to Belgian Congo. So we're not allowed to talk about it. It has something to do with the breeding of the mountain apes. The mountain gorilla. You know, Jane Goodall, wasn't that the name of the lady who sat out there with gorillas in the mist? Jamie will be taking over her projects, but it's highly classified. That's racist. Oh, you're gonna have jury duty. I was supposed to be in court this morning, and I wasn't feeling 100%. So and I didn't want to cancel it because it's a case that already been pushed. So I was kind of like, I'll man up and I'll just bring some tissue and I'll just do the good old coughing. And then they called me and said, "Oh, sorry, the defense lawyer is sick." Oh, I'm so sorry. So I'll have court again tomorrow, but that should be over already at noon Danish time. So everything should be hunky-dory to start this trial at 9:30 if they start at the same time tomorrow. Yeah, then it'll be 30 minutes till they come in here. I don't know. It's he's not. He has no connection to the victim other than his. He's kind of friendly with the ex-husband of the victim. So, and I don't think the ex-husband has been charged with this case. I haven't seen that. Maybe he has. Yes, I have a picture of tea and honey. So. So I don't know if there's any reason why the rose petals are what made me interested in this case, because that's kind of like I'm envisioning American Beauty or something like that. Really bad movie. But then you get all the cheese pizza, and that's not that made it very interesting, because can they get it in there, it'll change everything. If they can get in there that maybe her fiance diddled, maybe she helped him diddle, maybe both of them diddled, that would change the case 100%. I don't drink much alcohol when I'm streaming, sadly. Hey, Jemima.
Hello.
Then you can take over.
Yeah. Did I just mute? Can y'all hear me? Okay, good. Everyone can hear me. Good. So this case is really interesting. I deep dived on it because Sue asked me to. There's so many twists and turns. I was hoping they would get at least maybe the mention of the charges in. Although he's also being sued civilly, so I'm imagine they could ask about that and maybe open the door that way. But I guess we'll see how that proceeds. My biggest thing is they claim that this defendant entered the house at 9:15 and then was on a bike riding away at 9:27. And that's only a 12-minute window to unalive this woman and then stage it and then be on the bike and not look like they just committed an unaliving, especially one with 31, injuries. Because that's going to be a lot of the red stuff everywhere, I imagine. So for me, that's going to be my biggest question mark is how they expect that to all go down in 12 minutes and for him to be riding away looking like nothing. Now, granted, the picture that I've seen of him on the bike is he's like dressed in all black. So that red stuff wouldn't really show up on that, but who knows? I need more, especially with like I said, a 12-minute gap. So motive-wise, one of the things that I found.
Sorry, I'll just Nick Rocco has shared that they will appeal the denial to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, but so if you want to participate in raising money for that, any donation over $40 make you enter into a dinner with Karen and her parents. So This is over at, I think this is...
That's it. I think their Facebook.
Their Facebook, yeah.
I can go grab it if you want.
Yeah, sure. Might have found out I didn't have the audio boost on. Motive, they haven't really talked about motive, but motive isn't required. They don't have to prove motive.
No, they don't. And that's going to be...
No, audio, no. Brandon, be nice. And that'll be a little expensive in plane tickets. I think we lost Jess. I don't know if it's because she went on Facebook on her. Now she's back.
There we go. I think so.
Yeah, it's because Facebook thinks, oh, you're going to use your mic at my place.
Even though I'm not. He has 5 younger siblings that were adopted from Russia that supposedly went through some very traumatic things that he was very close to and was helping raise. But I don't know if that would really be it. I mean, I could see that though. If you knew that they experienced something similar.
Do you think it's the right ruling to keep it out? Prejudicial, probative, but if it's a potential motive, well, you can keep it out from Mr. Post, but can you keep it out from the victim?
I don't know if you can keep it out from the victim, because I would imagine it would go to some kind of mitigation or an alternate person, even if you're not pointing to Post being the one who did the unaliving, you could argue that it could be any parent that found out. because she's also like there's two different civil lawsuits. There's one for her daughter, and then there's one for her daughter's friend. So
it was her daughter who was in because I didn't see any of that reported in the articles I read, but it is the daughter who is on the pictures.
it is. At least some of them. It doesn't seem like it's all of them because, like I said, there's the two lawsuits. One is for the daughter's legal guardian, suing both Post and the estate of the victim, and then the daughter's friend. And I have to put it this way because they're both tagged as Jane Doe because they're underage. The daughter's friend is also, her parents are also suing Post and the estate for pictures and things of them being taken. So
is it how do you ask this nicely? Is it inaction or is it just undressed? Do we know that?
It didn't specify.
Yeah, because that's one of those things that
Yeah. But it was both the daughter and one of the daughter's friends. I assume it was something like the daughter's friend had a sleepover, or the daughter had a sleepover or something, or that the friend was over a lot. But yeah, it's they're suing for like invasion of privacy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and a couple other counts that are similar. But I think they purposely kept the details a little vague.
I hate people like that. I'm sorry. That's they should really, really, really be sent into the sun.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I could see it, like, maybe not necessarily for impeachment of him, but like I could see it needing to come in for motive, or like an alternative to the crime.
Yeah, because did they ever look at her parents? The big problem is the DNA under the fingernails. Did you see on what basis they, or did you hear it yesterday in the motions? What the basis was for them to exclude it? They said it was obtained illegally.
How would you obtain it illegally?
Yeah, that's the one I didn't get. And again, I just saw that that's the motion they went with. Hey, the space between, you didn't miss anything other than we read that the Karen Reed motion got denied in the Supreme Court. Court has been way behind because they had an in-camera voir dire of one of the witnesses because he apparently is charged with how many counts of CP?
A lot. I think there was like 8 or more.
Yeah, and it's not just it's not the small stuff.
No. And you don't need a warrant for the victim because usually the victim, they'd take that during like the autopsy and stuff.
Yeah, they are allowed to do in the autopsy and just go over everything. That's you won't get any of that out.
Is this what AI generated for you?
No, this is what I generated.
Just stuck a mustache and some googly eyes on.
That's Lord Chippy.
I love Lord Chippy.
He's a gentleman. That's why he has a big mustache.
He's a gentleman.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah, he's a lord.
Like he needs a top hat.
Yeah, I couldn't find one that could fit into the picture, but I was looking at maybe getting some teeth and putting into the front part of it.
Oh yeah, some chompers. Oh yeah.
I sound a little crap. Well, I can't sound a little crap because if I do that, you're always sick. Peel a full onion. I don't have an onion in my house, so I can't do that.
What would peeling an onion do?
It'll probably moisturize the room, but I'll maybe I should go do that now because it's raining outside. I can just go pop the window.
Stick your head out the window. There you go.
Need a humidifier.
I don't need Jamie. I live in the Nordic countries. It's raining 75% of the year.
Well, if it's dry.
It's not. I open my doors and windows.
Oh.
I don't know. My husband bought a
Lubricate your throat.
humidifier that looks like a cannon and just shoots out puffs of humid air.
I know.
Like MGs. Humidifiers isn't a thing in Denmark. We don't have all of that crap. Motion have been filed to add Better Road to Karen Reed's legal team according to a Turtle Boy post on X. Can someone go confirm the filing? I don't know if it's possible. Yeah, we buy dehumidifiers in Denmark. I actually have to figure out a way to dehumidify my car because I get ice on the inside of the windows because it's so old. So I probably should get the aircon serviced.
They make
Well, lucky you. I thought I hate how dry it gets in the wintertime here.
they make little like pack things that you can do. 'Cause
Yeah, I
them in my
have it
basement.
in. I have a shed outside that gets very wet. So I have dehumidifiers in there to suck up some moisture so everything doesn't get moldy.
Yeah,
So,
but they have these like little bags and or little cups of stuff
Yes.
that will suck in the moisture.
I have something roughly this size that'll suck the moisture.
Yeah.
But I have the only thing I have like an air purifier because I'm sitting with all of this electronic, so there's a lot of dust and a lot of electricity going on. So I have that running once a week. I'll just do it to get some better air quality in here.
I love
You-
all Marissa's suggestions.
There is a Pro Hop Vice motion on the docket for Karen. For Mark.
That's cool.
So he will join. Maybe that's why he didn't respond when I wrote him the other day if he wanted to have a talk.
Yeah.
You're supposed to secure the slices of onion or potato to the bottom of.
What?
How drunk are people this morning?
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure that's not how you do it. I don't mind alternative medicine, but I won't be sleeping. I'm getting so vain now that I actually put some cream on my feet because I was at a yoga class the other day and I saw, oh, you have dry feet. Oh, so now I'm turning into a woman putting oil on my feet.
Oh, no shame. Men should do that because it helps.
There's
Be
also Bev granted a bunch of media people to be able to file an amicus curiae on behalf of Fox News. You know, that motion that Hank filed requesting all their notes and stuff because of the interview.
Oh, yeah.
She allowed I think it was 5 or 6 different news outlets to be able to file amicus curiae.
According to Gigi in Courtroom, judge ordered no streaming of any testimony unless jury is in the room. Opening starts now. Should get video in 30 minutes due to...
Yeah, that was a while ago. Gigi is also Pretty Lies and Alibis.
Okay. Yeah, but
yeah.
that's like half an hour ago. You said that, so we should be getting
Yeah.
really now. You put the onion in the you put onion in your socks. You're weird people.
I wouldn't be surprised if Danny T has.
Yeah. Better than the old salami down the trousers trick. Well, it works sometimes. And when you get that far and you show, they say, well, okay, you'll get a sympathy one. Always onionize your feet before yoga class. How?
Oh, that's right. I'm not on camera. You all can't see my face. I was just making a face like, what the hell is wrong with you people?
Onions are gross.
No, onions
No.
are great.
I like onions, but they don't like me. I like you cut one even like 10 feet away, and my eyes will just start watering.
Sometimes you're so sick you'll try anything. Yeah, but I'm not that sick. I have a slight chill and my throat is killing me. But I'm drinking tea. That's hell enough. Maybe I should have some hot cocoa. I like hot cocoa.
Hot cocoa is always good. Lifts the
Yep.
spirit too.
Yeah.
In other words, it just makes you happy.
Yeah, but old line red. Don't think about it. People just turned weird all of a sudden. They. Do you know if you go out in the moonlight and cut a spruce off an old oak tree and bury it underneath your floorboards, you will have no ruptured discs the next year? No. Yeah, it's too interested. I don't have any snaps at the house either. I should have some cocoa beware. Don't stop. Everyone, get away from the feet. I'm not a feet person. I don't like feet. Everyone, that's happened. It always happens when court is a little delayed. It turns weird.
Turns to OnlyFans level.
Let's get Lord Chippy back. When I was a kid and visited my family in Fyn, they always made warm milk with honey when I had the cold. Yeah, I had that with my grandma as well. But I don't want to heat up milk. It takes too long.
How do you make cocoa then?
I'll just put some hot water and some cocoa powder because I don't have the time to stand out there and whisk the milk in the pot, and then I have a show to run. I know.
Do you not have a microwave?
Yanks. Yanks, yanks, yanks. Yanks, 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 yanks. Why are yanks like that?
I'm just saying you can heat the milk up in the microwave. Takes like maybe 2 minutes stirring every 30 seconds. It's fine.
Everything needs to be easy for you yanks. Can't do anything the correct way. You heat it up in a small pot casserole. I don't know what you call it.
Saucepan?
Probably, maybe.
Look! Matt just defended me. What's wrong with microwaves?
He lives on the Devil Island. He doesn't know anything. He's like Jon Snow. That's not how you make cocoa. Exactly, Fedorowski.
I'm just saying, if you're in a pinch. I have done it in the crock pot. That is amazing. You're doing it with chocolate chips and creamer and milk and
I can live with oatmeal in the microwave, but did your mom not like you? Onion syrup.
ew.
I've never heard about that. I don't even know where. Well, the nearest dairy farm is 20 minutes away from me.
Jesus. It's not that bad, I guess. I think the nearest one is probably about 30.
Well, I do live in a rural area, but it's mostly wheat and not that wheat, Jamie. Relax. And rapeseed is and then we have a lot of apples orchards.
Yeah, we have a lot of apple orchards here. It's apparently a thing.
What's
So what-
rapeseed?
I think he meant grape.
No, rapeseed. It's the yellow flower with the little black. We have talked about this before.
We have.
Well, me
He
and
says
Jamie
this all
have.
the time about things, and I swear I don't remember that at all.
No, try watching the show, Jamie. It's quite good sometimes.
What show?
There's a show.
Yeah. When is this show on?
Rapeseed, also known as rape or oilseed rape, is a bright yellow flowering member of the family Brassicaceae, mustard or cabbage family, cultivated mainly for its oil-rich seeds, which naturally contains appreciable amounts of mild toxic uric acid. The term canola denotes a group of rapeseed cultivars that were bred to have very low levels of uric acid and which are especially prized for use as human animal food. Rapeseed is the third largest source of vegetable oil and the second largest source of protein meal in the world.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
if you go by and see all these yellow fields, that's rapeseed. There's a lot of them around where I am, and in the summer, every Instagrammer needs to go out there and take a picture of themselves in the rapeseed. If you're a little spicy, you'll pull your pants down and show a little whale tail. But that's only if you want to have the good Instagram.
Is
Of
that what it
course
looks like though?
And here's
'Cause
the
it's-
comment.
Because it's really pretty.
It's canola oil, Jamie.
It's still pretty when it's alive.
Yeah, when it's like in the field.
No, not sunflower. Canola oil. Used to have a gazillion commercial grow houses. Many went bankrupt. I'm sure some of them have been converted into other uses, if you know what I mean. No, that's mostly on Lolland. We actually we have quite a big company. I think they tried, or maybe they are on the stock exchange, but for medical purposes. But they can't get it allowed in Denmark, so they don't really have a market. Just complain to, and then this. No, I said I don't have time for it because I'm doing a show. Yes, we brought up his tweet, not his tweet, his Facebook post 10 minutes ago. See, you can't make cocoa in the microwave. It'll taste like old pants and goat skin. How Fedorowski knows this? Norwegian people are weird. They might go around licking goats. Woohoo! Woo!
Oh my god.
Come on, baby. Let's start.
Like Chip Chop Chip Court.
These Fetterman delays are going to be weird.
Yeah, like why do we have to do this? It's so annoying.
If someone just say I've got this on a hot mic.
I know it's weird.
Oh man.
He's a redhead, guilty.
Is he red? I thought he was more blonde. Oh no, he looks red there.
Not like strawberry blonde is what they call it.
Yeah, the photos that they've had circulating, he looks more blonde, but
Nothing from the state.
Nothing from the defense.
Counsel, as I have previously, in the words of Judge Pyle, these are opening statements, not arguments, counsel. Okay, bring them in.
Opening statements, not arguments. I like this guy.
He reminds me of Richard Gilmore from Gilmore Girls.
What's Gilmore Girls?
I cannot explain that to you easily. The TV show from like the early 2000s.
It was a single mom and her daughter just making it.
Yeah.
And then she finds that rocket neighbor who
Yeah.
she doesn't like to begin with, but then he turns on the charm and she sees him fixing a light fixture and she starts tripping.
You're kind of close. I mean, it's the guy who owns the diner, and they like have this will they, won't they thing throughout like the whole series until the very end.
Will they?
I mean, they end up together, but yeah.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for Gilmore's Girl 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I'm pretty sure.
Well, I haven't watched it, so
Well, you should. It's a little heartwarming TV show.
yeah,
okay.
it's funny. I'm
I watched
surprised
it.
you haven't watched it because you have girls.
Yeah, and you do kind of like the little lovey-dovey stuff.
Yeah, but I don't like these boring series that just takes forever and it's the
Oh,
same
it's not-
episode every week.
No, there's plenty of stuff that goes on. Yes, there's the we won't. That's always going on with the guy who owns the diner, but she dates other people in between. It's funny. There's plenty of funny.
So she's the town bicycle.
Damn it, Baker.
Oh Lord.
I haven't seen the show. You described it to me, and the first thing I thought was, oh.
The show
he was-
takes place over like a 6 or 7 year period, like maybe even more, because I think she's like the kid is like starting high school or something like that.
She goes to college, yes.
Yeah, and it gets like all the way through college.
You ruined it for Peter. He was just starting to binge it.
Oh, stop it.
That's always remember to say spoiler alerts. That's why every time I talk about Titanic, spoiler alerts, it sinks.
Yeah, it's got a lot of good people in it.
That's
Well,
some of
like-
the worst people ever put on a screen. That's if you look at Titanic, it has the worst cast
Not
ever.
Titanic. Gilmore Girls.
Well, I don't know anything about that. I just know about Titanic because I watched it 3 times.
Oh my god.
Being here, I appreciate it. I had legal matters that I had to take up with the attorneys in this matter. And again, I just want to thank you for your patience and thank you for your service. Can you please swear the jury?
Please stand and raise your right hand. The correct response to the
Swear at the jury. Is that what he said?
you shall well and truly
No,
swear
can you
that
swear
I
the
think he said,
jury?
I know.
swear in the jury.
I know. I was just making fun.
Jimmy, don't tell this chat to swear at the jury. We know how
Swear at
it's
the
gonna
jury,
go.
please.
I don't think the swear jar is full enough for that.
Let's fill her up.
Why can't we hear anything? They're reading the charges and we can't hear anything.
Because that person doesn't
Ladies
have a
and
mic.
gentlemen, you are now the jury in this case, and I'll take a few minutes to tell you something about your duties as jurors and give you some instructions. At the end of the trial, I will give you more detailed instructions on the law, and those instructions will control your deliberations. The criminal case has been brought by the state of South Carolina, and I will sometimes refer to the state as the prosecution. The state is represented in this trial by Solicitor Walter Wilkins and Jake Hofert. The defendant is represented by his attorneys, Mark Moyer and Andrew Moorman. The defendant has been charged by the state with murder, possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime, burglary first degree, harassment, and conspiracy. The charges against Zachary David Hughes are contained in the respective indictments. The indictment is simply the description of the charges against Zachary David Hughes. It is not evidence of anything. The defendant has pled not guilty to these charges and denies committing the crime. He is presumed innocent and may not be found guilty by you unless all of you unanimously find that the state has proven his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. South Carolina law makes the jury the finder of facts. You 12 alone are the finders of facts, and it will be your duty to decide from the evidence what the facts are. You will hear the evidence, decide what the facts are, and then apply those facts to the law I give you at the close of this case. That is how you will reach your verdict. In doing so, you must follow that law, whether you agree with it or not. The evidence will consist of the testimony of witnesses, documents, and other items received into evidence as exhibits, and any facts on which the lawyers agree or stipulate. The same law that makes you 12 the finder of the facts makes me the judge of the law, and our rules of evidence control what can be received into evidence. When a lawyer asks a question or offers an exhibit into evidence and a lawyer on the other side thinks it's not permitted by the rules of evidence, that lawyer may object, and that simply means that the lawyer is requesting that I make a decision on a particular rule of evidence. South Carolina law forbids a trial judge from making a comment to a jury about a fact in a case. Therefore, because it may be necessary for me to comment on a fact in applying our rules of evidence, it may be necessary for me to talk with the lawyers out of your hearing by having a bench conference while you are present in the courtroom or by excusing you from the courtroom. The purposes of these conferences is to decide how certain evidence is to be treated under the rules of evidence and to avoid confusion and error. I ask you, be patient during these breaks. Certain things are not in evidence. Statements, arguments, questions, and comments by lawyers representing the parties in the case are not evidence. Objections are not evidence. Lawyers have a duty to their clients to object when they believe something is improper under the rules of evidence. You should not be influenced by the objection. If I sustain an objection, you must ignore the question or exhibit and must not try to guess what the answer might have been or the exhibit might have contained. If I overrule the objection, the evidence will be admitted, but do not give it special attention because of the objection. Testimony that I strike from the record or tell you to disregard is not evidence and must not be considered. Anything you see or hear about this case outside this courtroom is not evidence unless I specifically tell you otherwise during the trial. Finally, some of you may have heard the terms direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. Direct evidence is testimony by a witness about what the witness personally saw, heard, or did. Circumstantial evidence is indirect evidence, that is, it is proof of one or more facts from which one can find or infer another fact. You may consider both direct and circumstantial evidence. The law permits you to give equal weight to both, but it is for you to decide how much weight to give to any evidence. In deciding what the facts are, you may have to decide what testimony you believe and what testimony you do not believe. You may believe everything a witness says or only part of it or none of it. In deciding what to believe, you may consider a number of factors, including the following: the witness's ability to see or hear or know the things the witness testifies to, the quality of the witness's memory, the witness's manner while testifying, whether the witness has an interest in the outcome of the case or any motive, bias, or prejudice, whether the witness is contradicted by anything the witness said or wrote before trial or by other evidence, and lastly, how reasonable the witness's testimony is when considered in light of other evidence which you believe. It is my responsibility to rule as a matter of law as to whether certain testimony is admissible. But once the testimony is admitted, whether or not you believe it is solely for you to determine. To ensure fairness, you as jurors must not talk among yourselves about this case
or about anyone involved with it until the end of the case when you go to the jury room to decide your verdict. Do not talk with anyone else about this case or about anyone who has anything to do with it until the trial is ended and you have been discharged as jurors. Anyone includes members of your family and your friends. You may tell them that you're a juror, but do not tell them anything about the case or discuss it until after you have been discharged as a juror. Do not let anyone talk to you about the case or about anyone who has anything to do with it. If someone should try to talk to you, please report it to me immediately. During the trial, do not talk with or speak to any of the parties, lawyers, or witnesses involved in this case. You should not even pass the time of day with any of them. It is important not only that you do justice in this case, but that you also give the appearance of doing justice. If a person from one side of the case sees you talking to a person from the other side, even if it is simply to pass the time of day, an unwarranted and unnecessary suspicion about your fairness might be aroused. If any lawyer, party, or witness does not speak to you when you pass in the hall, ride, the elevator, or the like, it is because they are not supposed to talk to you or visit with you pursuant to my instructions. Do not read any news stories or articles, watch TV about this case or about anyone involved with it, or listen to any radio or television reports, podcast, anything of the like about this case, any social media, or about anyone involved with it. Do not do any research on the internet about anything in the case or consult blogs or dictionaries or other reference materials, and do not make any investigation about this case on your own. This is your duty as the jurors in this case. Do not make up your mind about what the verdict should be until after you have gone to the jury room to discuss this case with your fellow jurors. Keep an open mind until then. I'm often asked about note-taking. You are not able to take notes during the trial of this case, and the reason is that I want you to pay close attention to each witness as he or she testifies and not be fixated on taking copious notes. The first step in the trial will be the opening statements. The state in its
Could be interesting to see how many cases with no notating contra with notating that ends up in guilty verdicts.
Kinda. I mean,
Because I think, especially, I don't know how long this is slated to be, but a Karen Reed case with no notes. How will you remember what, if any, snow there was in Canton on that night? That could be an interesting little thing to keep a score sheet on. This case is about a woman, 41 years old, who is found dead by her fiance in her house, where she's been stabulated 31 times, placed in the living room, rose petals spread around the body, and then they start looking into what it is about. A couple of days later, her fiance gets arrested because they find copious amounts of CP on at least his computers, but also on hers, which include her daughter and a daughter's friend. The ring video then shows someone arriving at the house and leaving again on a bicycle 12 minutes later. That's the guy we have on the stand today, Zachary Hughes. His DNA is found underneath her fingernails. He has no connection to them other than her ex-husband, who she was in a custody battle with, knows him. So I think the state's theory is that the husband made him or asked him to do it. But the CP stuff sounds really bad.
and we haven't even gotten to opening yet, so we're almost there.
Yeah, we're going to go to opening now. So you came at the right time because we are 2 hours delayed.
evidence that it intends to put before you so that you will have an idea of what the state's case is going to be. Just as the indictment is not evidence, neither is the opening statement evidence. Its purpose is only to help you understand what the evidence will be and what the state will try to prove. And after the state's opening statements, defendant's attorney may, if he chooses, make an opening statement. And at this point in the trial, no evidence has been offered by either side. Next, the state will offer evidence that it says will support the charges against the defendant. The state's evidence in this case will consist of the testimony of witnesses and may include documents and other exhibits. I remind you that the defendant is presumed innocent, and the state must prove the guilt of the defendant beyond a reasonable doubt, and the defendant does not have to prove his innocence. On both sides, the state and the defense will each be given time for their final arguments. I just told you that the opening statement by the lawyers are not evidence, and the same applies to the closing arguments. They are not evidence. In their closing arguments, the lawyers for each side will attempt to summarize and help you understand the evidence that was presented.
I'm thinking if the CP comes in somehow, doesn't matter how strong the evidence is against him. I think a jury will go a long way to find someone not guilty if we found out that she CP'd her own daughter.
The final part of the trial occurs when I instruct you about the rules of law that you're to use in reaching your verdict. After hearing my instructions, you will leave the courtroom together to make your decisions. I will inform you when you can begin deliberating. It is your added duty, Ms. Foreperson, to preside in the jury room and be the jury spokesperson here in court. It will also be your duty to write the verdict, but I will give you further instructions about that at the conclusion of the case. We will now begin the trial. State.
Your Honor, may it please the court.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Walt Wilkins, and myself, along with Jake Hofreth, we are the prosecutors in this case. This is Detective Jared Sparkman and Master Deputy Blake Wolf. They're the co-lead investigators in this case. I want to thank you for your service and thank you for giving us the opportunity to present this case to you. The state has the obligation to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt, and that's the standard.
C stands for kid. P, you can probably figure that one out. And allegedly, she's on the pictures with the girls. I'm going to remove that because we are not allowed to write this on YouTube. But yes.
That you're going to hear from the judge, you're going to hear throughout your deliberations and throughout this trial. We have to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And there's a lot of folks in this courtroom right here that you see. And so we are the prosecution. We represent the state. We have the honor of representing the state in this particular case. The defendant sits over there. That is Zachary Hughes along with his attorneys, and they represent him in this particular case. But there's many more other individuals in this case. We have the court reporter. She's very important. She is taking down everything that we're saying, recorded, so we can have a record of this entire case.
We don't care. Get to the point.
Why are you introducing everybody in the courtroom? Come on.
Exhibits. So if you see her over there writing on things, that's what she's doing. She's marking the exhibits in which we will identify things that we will be presenting to you for your review. This is Madam Clerk. She's involved with a
Oh
lot
my
of
God.
paperwork and handles all the evidence
I
that we
can't.
submit into the court. So she'll be handling all the exhibits that you will get to review upon your deliberation. And of course, we have the judge up here. And if you'll notice, the judge is a pretty important person. He's got a black robe. He gets to sit a little higher than the rest of us. And there's a reason for that, because he's the referee in this case. And he's going to be calling balls and strikes. He's going to be telling us what the law is. And when one of the parties has an objection, he's going to say whether you're right or whether you're wrong. And because there are rules in this courtroom, ladies and gentlemen, the rules are officiated by the judge to make sure that we maintain the rules and decorum in this courtroom and the evidence is presented to you in the proper way. But the most important people in this room, ladies and gentlemen, are you.
Oh my God.
As the judge said, you're the triers of fact. You decide what the facts are. And the great thing about serving as a juror is that you don't leave your common sense at the door. You get to bring it with you in here. And you get to listen to the testimony that'll come right from this chair right here. And you get to look at the evidence that's presented in your deliberations. And you can see it along the way of how this case progresses. You'll hear different kinds of evidence, as the judge said. You'll hear direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. They're both very powerful pieces of evidence. They can be used in any way in which you accept them. Direct evidence is simple. It's something that somebody can see, taste, or smell, something that they see. If you see somebody commit a violent crime, that's direct evidence that they saw that person there. Circumstantial evidence can be just as powerful. For example, if you look outside before you go to bed and you see your lawn nice and green, and you wake up and it's covered in snow and there are footprints walking through the snow, well, you know that somebody walked through your yard.
This is opening statement. Yes, it's not how court runs. He's just making sure that you know everything.
From the time you went to bed, the time you woke up, you don't know who it is, but you know somebody did because you can see footprints. You can derive information from that to form a logical conclusion. Another good example of circumstantial evidence is DNA evidence. If you have DNA in a certain location, you can derive that that person was at that location at that particular time. Even though no one may be testify that they actually saw him there, but the DNA shows that he was or she was there at a particular time. It's very powerful circumstantial evidence. So, ladies and gentlemen, this case is about the murder of Christina Parcell. And the
Go back to the microphone.
intends to prove that Zachary Hughes did in fact murder Christina Parcell. And you have a number of charges that you're going to be deliberating on. You have harassment charges, you have a burglary first degree charge, and you have a murder charge. Harassment is basically doing something that would intrude into the personal life of somebody, causing mental anguish. Burglary first degree means you went into somebody's home for the purpose of committing a violent crime. And then, of course, murder is an angry heart. We have to show that Zach Hughes had an angry heart. He was mad. And you can derive that information from any of the testimony, any of the evidence that we have that we present to you. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear about a number of characters. The main character is Christina Parcell. She was murdered on October 13th, 2021. And she was living in the Canebrake neighborhood with her sister, Tina Parcell, and Christina's daughter, Aida Mello. They were living in that neighborhood in a house in Canebrake, and Christina Parcell had been going through a very tremendous child custody dispute with John Mello since Aida was 3 years old. At the time, Aida was 9. For almost 6 years, they had been battling custody over Aida Mello. And that custody dispute raised to a certain level beginning in October of 2020 when John Mello and Aida Mello went to Italy. And John took Aida Mello to Italy, and Christina fought to get her back. And in April of 2021, Christina obtained Aida's custody. And they came back from Italy, and that's how they ended up living in the Canebrake neighborhood. So the question is, how did Zach Hughes become involved in this case? Well, Zach Hughes had a relationship with John Mello starting in about October of 2020, around the time when he left for Italy. And that relationship grew. And it grew to the point where Zach Hughes began inserting himself into this custody battle at the behest of John Mello. And they began doing things like sending photos of her to the neighbors in an effort to shame her, an effort to show that she's a bad mother. And as the custody dispute it elevated into a situation where custody might not go in John Mello's favor. And at that point, Zach Hughes made the ultimate decision. Ladies and gentlemen, I hold in my hand the indictments from the grand jury charging Zach Hughes with harassment and burglary first and murder And the grand jury, true bill of these cases, they came out, and these are the charging documents. And while the defendant at this point in this case is certainly clothed in innocence, once you hear the evidence from that chair, you hear the evidence that's presented to you, you're going to find beyond a reasonable doubt, and the evidence will show that Zach Hughes is a cold-blooded killer. And he committed murder, he committed harassment, and he committed burglary first. Thank you.
Oh my God.
He talked more about the people in the courtroom than the crime.
I know. I was like, well, huh? So
Yeah.
he was sending pictures, and that was what made him do what he had to do. I mean, thank you for not droning on and on about all the evidence, but I didn't need to know all the ins and outs of the courtroom.
Yeah, and maybe we needed to know a little bit about what happened when she was unalived.
Yeah. And Sue told me something, and I'm mad now. So
Oh, but the puppies?
I have feelings.
Not from...
I wasn't, I was mad before, but I'm even more mad. That's what I should say.
not from the fiance.
Hey, Your Honor, may please report, the defense is going to defer opening until our case. Thank you.
Which is your right. Stay. All right, Your Honor. The state calls Sarah Young.
Oh, they're not going to do a opening statement? Yes, Marissa. Sue said puppies were involved in this too.
Do you think it's the famous actor, Sarah Young?
Who's the famous actress, Sarah Young?
Well, in 2 seconds, the age of the guys in the chat will know.
Please place your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you. Please be seated. Please state your name for the record.
Sarah Young,
Ms. Young, with whom are you employed?
the Greenville County Sheriff's Office.
And what do you do for the Greenville County Sheriff's Office?
I'm the 911 tape research analyst.
All right, what is a 911 tape research analyst?
Essentially, we pull 911 calls for the solicitor's office and the officers.
And so how does 911 operate?
Essentially, when a 911 call comes into dispatch, dispatch determines whether or not which agency the caller is needing. So whether or not they need police, fire, EMS, they'll get information from the caller, and they'll transfer them to the proper agency.
And are the calls recorded?
Yes,
And when do they begin recording the call?
automatically. As soon as someone calls in a 911, it automatically starts recording.
So while it's ringing on, say, the caller's side, it's recording on your side?
Yes, sir.
Is that fair? And do y'all maintain all of those records?
Yes, sir.
Inside the 911 office?
Yes, sir.
And are those records kept in the ordinary course of business?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 7 and ask you if you recognize that.
Yes, sir, I do.
Are those your initials on there?
Yes, sir.
All right. And what is this?
That is a recording of the 911 call.
All right. I'm afraid, is this a recording of a 911 call on October 13th, 2021?
Yes, sir.
And you have your records up there?
Yes, sir.
To help you remember?
Yes, sir.
It was a long time ago, wasn't it?
That was.
Do you know about what time this call came in?
The call came in at 11 a.m.
At 11 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
And do you know what number called it?
Yes, sir.
What number called it?
The number we have recorded is 864-436-2499.
And do you know who was calling? Does it tell you?
The caller did not give his name.
Did not
I'll
give
be
it.
right back.
And do you know what address that it was calling for?
Yes, sir. The address provided was 122 Canebrake Drive.
Do you know if that's in Greenville County?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 7 into evidence.
We have no objection, Your Honor.
Objection, State's number 7 comes into evidence.
Now, State would like to publish it.
deliberations, 122 Cambridge Drive.
NJ Police Fire EMS.
I'm sorry, I think I might have a desk.
Okay, let me connect you
Walked
to.
in my fiance's house, she wouldn't answer my call, there's a very weird smell, and I can't get her to come around.
Okay, let
Laid
me
all over the floor.
let me connect you to EMS, sir. Hold on just a moment.
All right.
EMS Fire. What's the address of your emergency?
122 Cambridge Drive.
122 Canebrake Drive. And what's the other street for Canebrake Drive?
I don't know, South Drive.
Okay, in Greer.
Yes.
All right, the phone number you're calling.
I'm sorry?
The phone number you're calling from?
864-436-2499.
864-436-2499. Has anyone testified this COVID-19? This was COVID-19 positive?
No,
No, thank you.
I just walked in, I can't reach my fiance, I put in the back door, she couldn't go there. I smelled some weird smell, I looked like she bled out on the floor.
Okay, you smell a weird smell and she's flat on the floor?
Yes.
Okay, just one
I
moment.
think I said it, my voice said it.
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay, then we need to get her, turn her over, make sure she's flat on her back, nothing under her neck. You got something to put over her nose and mouth, and we're gonna start CPR, sir.
Okay, I think she's gone.
You think she's gone?
Yeah.
Okay, and what makes you think she's gone?
What about the president of CPR?
I'm sorry?
What do I do? I don't
Well,
want
we're gonna put flat on her back, and then I'm gonna walk you through the steps to do that. If you think that she's, able to do the CPR, then we can. I have no problem walking you through that.
It looks like it's burning out everywhere. It looks like there's something
There's
wrong.
brain matter everywhere?
It looks like maybe it's something about the
Like somebody had shot her? Okay, all right.
No.
All right, do you think that she's, not viable?
I don't think
Okay, so look, so tell me why you think she's dead.
so. She won't respond,
You won't
eyes open,
eyes are open. Okay, all right,
there's a lot of blood.
and a lot of blood. Okay.
Yeah, anyway, there's songs, there's something like the tongue here.
Uh-huh.
There's sunglasses and knocked off, it looks like in the hallway.
Okay.
But the smell is very,
Okay. All right, give me just a moment here, sir. Give me just a moment. So it looks like somebody may have broke in and shot her in the head.
me, I don't know.
Okay, I understand. Okay. I'm sorry, say it again.
Just somebody here now.
I've got some people coming, sir. Do you see anybody still nearby, an assailant or anything? No?
No.
All right. The front door was locked? Okay.
The back door was unlocked. I walked around, she didn't respond to my call.
Yes.
So I came over, and then I came out and smelled this weird smell.
Right.
And I walked in, I could see there's like a rose for us.
Yes. Okay. I have everybody coming. I'm sending the paramedics to help now. Stay on the line. I'll say exactly what to do next. Make sure to not move anything, leave everything as it is.
No, she was stabulated. The fiance was never a suspect. He's the guy on the phone, and he is instead charged with copious amounts of CP.
And if you can, go ahead and step out of the house, and that way wait for the paramedics and the police at the front of it. Yeah, I would go back out the way you came to, keep the scene as it is. And then if they want to go through the front when they get there, then they'll let you know. But I go back out the same way that you came in and leave everything as you found it. Yeah, okay. Leave it. And just however it is right now, just walk out. You can let them know you didn't know if you turned it on or off, but just leave it as it is right this moment.
The something really smell.
Oh, really weird.
Yeah, almost chemical.
Like a gas or chemical? More like a gas smell?
No, it's more like something with pesticide.
A pesticide smell? Okay. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
None of them. This is a music student or a professional pianist who knows the father.
Go ahead and get out the door and go to the front and wait for them at the front of the house. Leave everything as it is. Is there anything else that I can do for you, sir?
No.
All right, I've got them all coming.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Sir, this is the sheriff's office.
Is that the recording you retrieved from 911?
Yes, sir.
Answer any questions, defense counsel may have.
No question, John. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Young, you step in.
No, we asked the witness to be excused.
Excused.
Your Honor, the state would call Deputy Chris Robinson.
Oof. Why is everything going so slow?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Chris Robinson,
And with whom are you employed?
Greenville County Sheriff's Office,
And what is your current rank?
Master Deputy.
Master Deputy. And what do you do for the Greenville County Sheriff's Office?
Currently on uniform patrol.
And what does that entail?
Answer your day-to-day calls, 911 calls.
How long have you been with the department?
10 years.
I'm going to refer you back to October 13th of 2021. Do you remember getting a call to the Cambridge neighborhood?
I do.
Okay. How did you get that call?
It was just a call for service at the time. Someone called 911, and I responded to that address.
Where were you located when you got that call?
Pelham Road at the QT.
How far away is that to the Cambridge?
A couple miles, maybe.
How long did it take you to get there?
Just a few minutes.
Now, did you go with your blue lights on, or did you
Absolutely. Just for the nature of the call, yeah, we responded, a license siren.
So what address did you arrive to? Do you remember?
I'm not 100% the exact.
122 Cambridge?
That would be it, yes, sir.
And so what happened when you got there?
So once I arrived on scene, I made contact with the complainant, Mr. Post.
No, nothing has happened. We had the short. State had a short opening statement. Defense, no opening statements. First witness was just a 911 call where we couldn't hear anything other than the operator.
He was standing in the driveway. I was kind of briefly spoke to him, trying to figure out kind of what was going on. He told me that he arrived home, or arrived to the victim's address when she wasn't answering her phone. So he said he went in the back door, it was unlocked, and that's where he located her. So at that point, another deputy arrived on scene. So we decided to go in there and clear. We went in the back door. He said it was unlocked. They always leave it unlocked, so that's the way we made entry. Went inside immediately. As soon as we got inside, immediately smelled some kind of chemical odor. It was kind of unusual. We weren't 100% sure what it was. I could never figure it out, but we cleared the residence. I located Miss Parcell in the living room. There was blood all over the floor. Looked like there was drag marks on the floor where she was had been drugged by her feet or drugged somehow. She had multiple lacerations around her upper, her face, her neck area.
All right, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to take you back a little bit. Now, when you get out of your car, did you walk down the driveway?
Yes, sir.
And what cars were parked there?
There were two cars in the driveway. They were kind of parked one behind the other. One, I think it was Mercedes, was the back one. I don't remember which one the first one was.
And about where did you encounter Mr. Post?
He was in front of the first car closest to the house.
And then that's where did you obtain some information from him about what was going on?
Correct. Like I said, the basic information about where he came home and he couldn't get her on the phone, so that's why he showed up.
And so your next item to do was to clear the house.
Correct.
And did you do that alone, or do you?
No, Master Deputy Brookshire was there. He went inside with me. We did it together because we didn't know what was inside or who else was inside.
So at that point, you have no idea what you're walking into.
Correct.
Is that standard procedure to have two individuals clear the house?
Yes, sir.
And did y'all in fact go and clear the house in this case?
We did. We cleared the entire house. Didn't find anyone else inside besides Ms. Parcell.
Were you wearing a body camera?
I was.
And was it functioning properly?
Correct.
That day?
It was.
Have you reviewed that body camera?
I have.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit A and see if you recognize that.
Yes, sir. That has my body camera on it. I signed it there.
Those are your initials right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is this your body camera that you were wearing that day?
Yes, sir.
When you made a call to 122 Cambridge?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 8 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit A comes in evidence.
All right. Master Deputy, I'm going to show you this body camera, and we can start and stop it. I want you to kind of walk us through what you're doing and what you see as you're going through and you're clearing the scene with Officer Brookshire.
Yes.
So what is that there?
That's us arriving on scene, or me arriving on scene. do 122 cane break.
All right, and so is that the first time you saw this location?
Yes, sir.
And are those the two cars right there that you can see the silver one in the front?
Correct. Yes, sir.
And there was a red one behind it, I believe. All right. Is that where you encountered Mr. Post?
Yes, sir, initially.
And what is Mr. Post doing?
He was making a phone call. I'm not sure exactly who he was on the phone with, and we're just I'm getting basic information from him, kind of figured out what was going on, kind of what he saw, and what.
He looked way different when we saw him in the beginning of the trial. He looks 20 years older now.
Information from Mr. Post?
Yeah, just basic information.
Sorry?
I said to me he looks way older in this video. Not what I expected. That's for sure.
Did you see him coming in? He was all hunched up and couldn't walk. We don't know. We just started the trial.
And try to figure out exactly what we have.
Now you have audio on your body camera, don't you?
Yes, sir.
All right. We're not playing the audio for these purposes.
Okay. So yeah, just basic information, trying to figure out, when was the last time he talked to her, things like that. I could see that he was,
I'm fat. I go to the gym.
dressed nicely. He wasn't, there's nothing on him like where there would have been a struggle or anything like that too. So he didn't seem like he was in a hurry. So it seemed like there was, she was deceased just according to his body language, if that makes sense.
I mean,
so where are you going down here? The side of the house?
Yes, sir. He pointed us to the back. This is the back door. He said that that was always unlocked, and that's where he made entry. So this is where we decided to go because we knew that this door was more than likely unlocked and had good access to the house.
So is this your first entry into the house?
Yes, sir.
Because then he would be testifying about what he saw and then prejudicing the jury or influencing the jury. That's why you don't get his audio.
Now, did Mr. Post tell you which door he entered into the house?
He did. He said he'd come in the back door because he said they always kept it unlocked. So, and that was the door that we decided to make.
So the door being open right there was not concerning to you?
No, because he already said he was already in it.
I'm going to pull it if they show the pictures of her inside.
So I'm just talking to Master Deputy Brookshire here. We're just kind of talking back and forth about what we see inside the house, kind of what each other's going to do, kind of your primary job responsibility, and that's all standard.
And in clearing the house, what is the purpose of clearing the house?
One, to secure any kind of evidence, and also make sure there's no one else inside, maybe no other victims or the suspect as well.
So where is
pretty sure that the judge has said
right.
you can't show it.
He's holding on. There's a hallway on the right side of the house.
So where did you just see right there?
Ms. Parcell's body.
Okay, so that was the room where you found Christina Parcell?
Correct, in the front living room area.
And y'all continue to search the house for any suspects?
Yes, sir. We're just continuing to clear. I had him hold the hallway, and I kind of just moved up and cleared kind of behind him, up to him, and then we started clearing the bedrooms down the hallway. We're sitting there just kind of talking our way through this, kind of, hey, what do you see?
And are you conscious not to disturb any part of the crime scene as well, as best you can?
Correct. Try not to touch anything. Obviously, opening the doors or whatnot, we kind of have to push them open. But we're not kind of rummaging through anything or opening any drawers, or we're just looking for humans at this point, so the big areas where somebody could hide.
No, just continue to clear the house.
Yes, sir. I believe that was the last bedroom that we cleared at that point. I believe I come out and we secure the house so nobody goes in or out.
Now, are you corresponding with other officers outside the house as well about what's going on? Are you reporting back to anybody?
Talking on the radio, just kind of letting them know what we have at this point, getting a supervisor on the way. they always respond to these kind of incidents.
Is that the front door right there to your right?
Yes, sir.
That's not the door you entered into.
No, sir. That's the front door to the residence that leads into the living room.
Not guilty. They didn't do an opening statement.
Front living room area that Ms. Parcell was located in. At this point, I'm just checking to make sure there's no signs of life. If we need to render any kind of medical aid. Looking for any kind of weapons to make sure it wouldn't, she did it to harm herself too.
And then now you're exiting
The back door.
the back door. So it's about. So did you cut your body camera off about that time? Or let me ask you this. That's about when you finished clearing the house.
Correct.
All right. Your body camera still continues to operate.
Correct.
Do you remember what you did after you cleared the house?
Went back and talked to Mr. Post, got some basic information, names, kind of the last time he spoke with her, things like that. And just waited on everybody else to show up.
Did y'all begin putting crime scene tape up?
Yes, sir.
Those kind of things?
Yes, sir. Just locking down the house, making sure nobody goes in or out, just to keep the crime scene preserved best we could.
And as far as Mr. Post is concerned, did he appear to have any blood on him? Anything like that?
No, he was dressed pretty nicely that day, in a sports coat.
Didn't he do CPR? How come he has no blood on him?
She kept saying him to do it, but he said she was already gone. So it doesn't sound like he tried.
That's not your determination. That's the doctor's determination.
I was.
I know, but that's what he said.
You talked a little bit about some of the comments Mr. Post made to you after you arrived on scene. You testified to that in direct examination. I want to talk about some of those comments. Master Deputy Robinson, isn't it true that roughly about a minute, 25 seconds in to your body camera, Mr. Post told you that he was there every day, or practically every day?
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, he's moved in the body camera. There was no exception as it relates to audio. The whole video and audio's in.
Overruled.
So, if I remember correctly, yeah, I mean, he says he's there often.
Isn't it true that roughly at about 12 minutes and 45 seconds in, somewhere in there, Mr. Post told you that he did not at that point feel comfortable continuing to talk to you? Do you remember that?
I do when I was asking questions.
And isn't it true that while
Very good, Monty G.
you were talking to him, he directed you to another deputy, a Deputy Dan Bevel? You might know more about the situation. Is that true? Do you remember that? At about 13 minutes and 35 seconds in, roughly?
I believe that was with a different case.
But while you were there that day, isn't it true that Mr. Post directed you to Deputy Bevel as someone who might know more about this case? Is that true?
Not about this direct case, but I guess he's been involved with the victim before.
Wasn't that a little bit leading? That's how I understood it. She was living with her sister, and then this guy came over all the time.
At some point, was Mr. Post placed in the back of a patrol car that day?
He was. He was the first one to find her, so standard procedure.
Yeah, but it's still state. So state, isn't it still state?
No, this is cross.
I can't hear shit today. I'm freezing and I'm shaking and I'm just sitting here trying not to die.
Don't die.
At least turn my camera off before I do it.
And at the time, isn't it true that well, strike that. 1 second here. I don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you. Can you redirect? No redirect, Your Honor. Thank you.
So he didn't want to talk to the cops, and he tried to mention another cop that knew the victim.
Yeah, that was pretty much what I got from that.
The state calls Bradley Post.
Oh. And this is him, right? Bradley Post.
Bradley Post is the fiance who is now a guest of the state because he had multiple videos and pictures on his devices of cheesy pizza, and I don't know how they're gonna get it in, but they will try whatever they can do to get that mentioned, especially in connection to the victim, that she participated. If they have a way of doing it, because if I'm just saying anything CP related, everyone will sit here and say, well, Mr. Chippy better get on the job.
You know, okay, I have opinions.
Yeah, you have a lot of opinions.
If this is all true, I'm reading Marissa and Sue and stuff, then I'm good with some things.
It's Brandon who taught me it's called cheese pizza. He said, oh, you're baking cheese pizza for everyone today. And I thought, someone started early. But then he said, oh, it's a... Well, I won't. I'll weather this like everything else. I just need to put some socks on next because I'm cold as F. I better be. I think I'm gonna put on a lot of clothes when I sleep tonight and just sweat it out. Because I have at least 3 hours in court tomorrow before this, so I need it out of the system. I'm not gonna put onions anywhere, Marissa.
Fill your bed with onions.
These weird ladies, Jamie.
I know. I would never.
Oh, there's another motion filed in the Karen Reed case. Oh, it's a busy day today. Is it the motion to dismiss, or the Rule 14 motion that Bill will then say, I'll allow it? Why? We had a hearing that lasted almost 2 hours. You think he looked older in the video, Jamie?
I did.
Well, I love you, but you need glasses.
I actually do, and I hardly wear them. So yeah, you aren't wrong. Well, he does look decrepit in that orange uniform, so.
Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Bradley Post.
Good afternoon, Mr. Post. Where do you currently reside?
Greenville County Detention Center.
And have you been charged with a crime?
Yes.
Do you know the victim in this case, Christina Parcell?
Yes.
How do you know her?
We dated and were engaged on and off about 6 years.
And about when did y'all start dating?
Yeah, he's her fiancé.
2016.
You just
And in
engaged and get
2016,
unengaged?
where were y'all living?
You should read the description, Jamie. I think I mentioned it.
Yeah.
I was living at my house in Rivoli Lane. She was living in her house or apartment. I don't remember what she had at the time.
Nobody said engaged
And does
on and off.
Christina
That's what I
have
was confused about.
No, this guy isn't involved in the 6-year custody battle. This guy is her fiancé who had all the cheese pizza on his devices. That's why he's wearing this fashionable orange is the new black outfit, because he is the guest of the state, and with the charges that they mentioned yesterday, he'll probably spend the rest of his adult life, well, his life, as a guest of the state. There was a lot of 15-year sentences put into that one.
Daughter?
Yes.
What is her name?
Aida Mello.
And did you get to know Aida Mello?
Yes.
And do you know who the father
Yes.
of Aida is?
Yes.
And who is that?
John Mello.
And were you aware of a child custody dispute between Christina Parcell and John Mello?
Yes.
And was this custody dispute ongoing from 2016 up until 2021?
Yes.
And how were you involved in the child custody dispute?
I would listen to her talk. Sometimes I'd assist her to go to an attorney, whatever, but, she'd just tell me about what it was.
Was it contentious?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Was there a lot going on in it?
Yes.
Was John Mello fighting very hard from his perspective?
Yes.
And Christina was fighting as well?
Yes.
Now, do you know where Christina was living on October 13th, 2021?
On Cambridge.
Is that 122 Cambridge?
Yes.
And do you know who was living at that house at that time?
Yes.
Who was living there?
Her sister and her daughter and her.
Okay, and what is her sister's name?
Tina.
Tina Parcell?
Yes.
And did you have the occasion to go to that house?
Yes.
And would Christina Parcell go to your house on Rivoli Lane?
Yes, sometimes.
And what kind of car was Christina driving at that time?
Lexus.
And who owned that car?
It was mine.
All right. Did you offer her to be able to drive that car?
Yes.
And did Christina Parcell have a cell phone?
It's 2 different cases.
Yes.
And did you assist her with the payments on that cell phone?
She had actually 2 cell phones. She had her own sometimes and mine also. But yes.
Did y'all communicate
Yes.
between those 2 phones? Do you know about when Christina moved to Cambridge?
I would have to think about it. I'm thinking maybe April, May, somewhere in that time frame.
Jamie won't allow me to go to bed. We don't have mixed rub in Denmark.
And did you have the occasion, as part of the child custody dispute, did Christina Parcell have to go to Italy?
Yes.
And do you know the circumstances surrounding why she would have to go to Italy to get her child? Can you tell the jury what your understanding of those circumstances was?
Slowly. We just had the 911 call and the first responding officer. This is the fiancé who found her, who is, as you can see, a guest of the state because of copious amounts of kiddie stuff.
Mr. Mello kidnapped the daughter and left the country.
And do you know about when that was?
He had a reason to if all this stuff was going down.
Before April.
Well, it's still illegal.
It's got to be.
Okay, and as a result of that, what did
I
Christina
can
do
look past
when
that.
Aida moved to Italy with John Mello?
She found out where he was located. She contacted her congressman and the State Department and the FBI.
And did she attempt to attain the return of Aida back to the United States?
Yes.
How did she do that?
Through the State Department. I think it was the Hague Agreement.
And did Christina actually fly over to Italy?
Yes,
Do you know how many times?
twice.
And were you assisting her and helping her throughout this process?
What do you mean?
Financially, were you helping her?
Some, but she was receiving contributions and reimbursements from those organizations that help women like that.
Women obtaining the return of their children who've been
That's correct.
taken abroad?
Yes.
And so did you emotionally support her? Are you involved? Did she tell you what's going on?
Yes.
And so do you remember did Christina ever get the return of her daughter?
Yes.
Do you remember when that was?
April, May time frame of the year.
Of 2021?
Yes.
I'm going to take you back to October 13th of 2021. Do you remember that day?
I do.
Can you tell us what you did that day starting in the morning?
Well, she had a job interview, and
She is Christina Parcell?
Yes, Christina Parcell had a job interview. Typically, when she had something critical, I would call and try to make sure she was up, and she was. And then when she was driving to the interview, she called me, and we talked for a while. And then she was a couple minutes from her interview, and so she hung up.
As far as you know, did she go to that interview?
Yes.
And then when she was at that interview, what did you do?
Generic things, common things around the house. Had to clean up and do laundry and dishes and things like that.
And then did you ever attempt to contact Christina?
Yes.
About when did you attempt to try and contact her?
I think it's around 11 o'clock, plus or minus somewhere in there.
And so how did you do that?
By phone?
And were you successful?
No.
So as a result of your unsuccessful attempt to contact her, what'd you do?
I thought I should probably go over and see how she's doing.
And did you do that?
I did.
How did you get there?
I drove my car.
What kind of car did you drive?
Mercedes.
Is it red?
Yes.
When you drove over there, where'd you park it?
In their driveway.
And when you arrived to 122 Canebrake, what did you do?
I went to the front door and rang the doorbell.
And were you able to enter?
No, she didn't answer.
So then what did you do?
I walked around the back door because frequently they'd leave the back door unlocked. And I walked into the back door.
This jury just saw the body camera of Chris Robinson. Did you see him go in the house?
See who?
Deputy Chris Robinson, the officer who you spoke to, the first person you spoke to on scene.
I may have, but I don't recall who he was because there were several people there.
And the door that he used, was it the door that you used to enter? Do you know what door he used?
I think they went through the front door. No, they might have gone to the back door, that's right.
And is that the door that you used to enter
Yes,
the house?
yes.
Okay, so you did enter the house?
Right. Again, I'm not sure whether it was the front door or the back door that they entered.
And so what did you do when you walked inside the house?
It was dark, quiet, and so I walked back to, down the hallway to see if she was in the bathroom or the shower, and it was all dark. And I looked on the floor, and right at the entrance of the living room and off that hallway, there were petals from like a rose. And
Everything in Denmark is highly regulated. I'll have to go to a doctor to get any of this stuff.
as I looked into the room, and I saw her on her back.
And when you saw her on her back, was there a lot of blood around the room?
Yes.
What did you do?
I walked over and yelled at her and then called 911.
And when you called 911, what were you requesting?
I told them who I was and where I was, and we needed, I guess, an ambulance or and the police assistance.
At this time, on October 13th, did you know where John Nola was located?
I assumed he was in Italy.
All right. Mr. Post, I'm going to show you some envelopes. I'm going to refer you sort of back to around June of that same year, 2021. And I'm going to show you some envelopes and ask you if you recognize these envelopes. And I'm going to show you State's Exhibits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yes.
I'm going to start with Exhibit 1. I want to make sure the jury can hear me, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to stand this way. I'm going to start with Exhibit 1. And do you recognize that document?
Yes.
Okay. Tell this jury about how you came in contact with this document.
It was mailed to me.
Say it again. I think
It was mailed to me.
Okay. And is your name on it?
Yes.
And the return address is a P.O. box. Whose P.O. box is that?
It's also my P.O. box.
And when about was it mailed to you?
June 30th? June 30th.
Okay. Did you receive other envelopes as well?
Yes.
Okay. Tell this jury about how that happened.
Be a little more specific.
So tell this jury you received an envelope. What did you do once you received it, and did you receive other envelopes? Question.
I received the envelope. I opened it because it was very suspicious, with my return address.
It's entering to the back door.
And I looked at it, and then I called my attorney.
Why did you call your attorney?
Because of the contents inside.
Can you explain, can you describe the contents?
Yes, there were naked pictures of Miss Parcell, and if I remember right, there was a mailing list of which would kind of indicate that they were going to be sent also to those locations.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 2. Is that a similar envelope as well?
Yes.
And did you open all these
Also known as the
No, I
poop
did
chute.
not.
On State's Exhibit 2, what is
Nope.
the address?
I did an hour before. If you go back to the first hour, I
It was
talked
mailed
about
to me,
it.
but my name was misspelled.
And then I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 3. Another envelope.
Yes.
And is it a similar envelope to the other ones that you received?
Yes.
And what is the address on that?
I'm 24. It's 25. It was my neighbor's.
So 25 is your neighbor's house.
Yes.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 4. Do you recognize that envelope?
Yes.
Where was that envelope?
It was sent to an establishment that I spent a lot of time with.
And
What establishment?
what is the return address on there?
It's mine.
How did you obtain this one if it was sent to another establishment?
I had known since the very first one that others may be sent to people. And so since I knew the owner very well, I told him that he may be receiving an envelope with those dimensions. And I said, if he does, I'd appreciate a call back.
And State's Exhibit 5,
I hate all of this.
is that another envelope?
Yes,
And what is the address there?
my address.
And the return address is,
My P.O. box.
and State's Exhibit 6.
Yes.
What address is that one?
It's 22, which is another neighbor.
So after you received and collected all of these envelopes, what did you do with them?
I talked to my attorney and we set up a meeting.
All right. And after you talked to your attorney and set up a meeting, what did he suggest y'all do?
That we would meet with the county investigator, we did it with Mr. Bevel, and also to talk to the post office since they were sent through the mail.
And did you in fact have that meeting with law enforcement?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of that meeting?
It was to give them what we call evidence, or the things that we were sent, and ask them what we should do next.
And were you in essence filing a complaint with law enforcement for a potential crime?
I don't understand the question.
Were you going to law enforcement in an effort to give them evidence of a potential crime?
Yes.
And when you're meeting with law enforcement, you say Detective Daniel Bevel.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Nicholson with the Postal Inspector's Office. Did you tell them how you obtained these items?
Yes.
And did you discuss who you thought might send them?
Yes.
And who did you tell law enforcement that might send these photos or had possession of these photos?
Well, we thought we knew who, of course, was behind them, but we weren't sure who sent them because he was supposedly out of the country.
So who did you tell the detectives had possession of those photos of Christina Parcell without any clothes on?
Mr. Mello?
That's John Mello?
Yes.
And that is who she was engaging in a child custody dispute with over Ida Mello?
Yes.
Objection, speculation. This guy didn't
Now, finally,
confess.
Mr. Post,
He claims he's
I'm going
innocent.
to ask you, have you ever met Zachary Hughes?
No.
Have you ever talked to Zachary Hughes?
No.
Have you ever corresponded him with, in any way, shape, or form, through email, social media, or the like?
No.
When was the first time you knew who Zachary Hughes was?
When my attorney set a meeting to come see me, and he showed me a picture and said this person was arrested for the murder.
For the murder of Christina Parcell?
That's correct.
And a couple more questions, Mr. Post. You and Christina Parcell were engaged.
Yes,
Did you give her a diamond ring?
I did.
Was she wearing it that day on October 13th, 2021?
Yes.
And on that day, did you provide her or give
Yeah, but he was speculating who sent the letters because they weren't sent from Italy. So he's speculating that it was the husband, but it couldn't be him because he was in Italy. That's speculation.
her any flowers the day before or that day?
No.
Didn't give her any roses or anything like that, did you?
No.
Mr. Post, if you could just answer any questions that the defense counsel has for you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Post, just first question, you just mentioned that you were engaged and that she was wearing the ring. Do you remember telling law enforcement on the day this happened that she wasn't wearing a ring?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay. You don't recall saying that?
No.
You remember, now you're saying you remember seeing her with the ring?
Yes.
Okay. You were also asked if you've been charged with a crime. It's actually 9.
Yeah, but he said, do you know who sent them? And he can't know that. He know the other guy had them, but as he believed he was in Italy, it would be speculating that it was him sending them.
Charges.
Correct.
Okay. Ask you about just some background questions about yourself. So, how old are you?
69,
What's your date of birth?
12856,
And where are you from?
Ohio,
When did you move to South Carolina?
July of, I think, 89.
What brought you to South Carolina?
Employment.
Are you married?
Was I married at the
Were
time?
you married?
Yes,
And how many times have you been married?
twice.
Do you have any children?
No.
How does this guy get married twice?
How are you making a living in October of 2021?
I was retired, so it was from my investments and interest.
And also from selling a business?
Yes.
Okay. And did you make a lot of money from selling the business?
I don't know what your definition of a lot of money is.
What's your definition? Did you have millions of dollars?
Objection relevant, Your Honor.
All right, so when...
Yeah, and suspect is speculation. He didn't know, so it's speculating that it must be him because he had the pictures.
did you actually meet Christina?
I met her at her father's cigar shop. Gosh, I can't, 20 years prior.
Okay. And you actually dated for...
So he met her when she was 21 and he was
Again, it's
49.
the definition of date. Yes, we went to lunch or dinner, but it was only a couple of weeks, and That was it.
And why did you all break up at that time?
It just, wasn't chemistry, and we both had other things to do.
All right, and then you reconnected then in about 2016, isn't that right?
That's correct.
And you began dating again at that time?
Soon after.
Had you seen her much in the years between?
No.
Had you seen her at all?
Prior 10 years, no, I didn't hear her name.
And then you began dating at this time. Now, Parcell, Ms. Parcell had a daughter at that time, is that right?
That's correct.
You've already testified her name was Aida. Is that right?
That's correct.
And how old was Aida when they began dating?
I don't know if I defined it when I dating, but when I saw her for the first time in 2016, I think she was 3.
Okay.
Ugh. Chippy.
Please say it didn't happen when she was 3 years old. We know it happened, but please not when she was 3 years old.
And she gave up custody of Aida shortly after y'all started dating?
I don't know the exact date, but she did change the custody arrangement.
And you at this time did not know Aida's father, John Mellon? Correct?
I knew of him because I was told, but no, prior to coming, no, I didn't.
Okay, prior to meeting or getting back together with Ms. Parcell, you did not
Correct.
know Mr. Mellon?
He's accused of multiple counts of PDF. His devices had more than 1,000 pictures of PDF files.
And did you break up during the period of time between 2016 and 2021?
Yes.
How many times did you say you broke up?
I really don't know many.
Okay, more than 5?
Maybe not. Somewhere I never counted it.
And that was at least in part because of the turbulence that was caused by the custody battle between Ms. Parcell and John Mellon?
It was part of it because it was becoming front and center of her life, so it affected a lot.
Okay, but you would continue to get back together. There's multiple times you broke up.
Eventually, yes.
Yep.
We don't know. We know that allegedly on her devices are pictures of her daughter, and a daughter's friend.
How long?
But it hasn't been said in court, and they are not allowed to bring it in with this guy.
Lived at 24 Rivoli Lane.
7, 8 years.
And you mentioned Ms. Parcell and Ida were living with her sister, Tina, on Canebrake Drive.
That's correct.
Okay, where did they live before that?
There was an apartment off of Woodruff.
Okay, and the 3 lived together there too?
Yes.
And did you live with anyone at Rivoli Lane?
I don't understand the question.
Did anyone live with you at Rivoli Lane?
No.
Lived there alone. Was it? I guess there was one exception then when Ms. Parcell moved in with you from October 20 until Ida returned?
She didn't really move in. She would stay with me because she always had a house or an apartment that was hers.
Okay. When did you and Ms. Parcell get engaged?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay. And did you remember getting engaged at least for the second time at the airport? Is that right?
That's correct.
And that was when Ms. Parcell returned with Ida.
That's correct.
And there was quite a group
Second time at
around
the
there when
airport?
you got engaged, right?
That's correct.
Who all was there?
Friends, her parents. You know, some of the friends I knew, some of the friends I didn't.
Okay, and this was the Greenville-Spartanburg Airport?
That's correct.
Okay, when Ms. Parcell returned from Italy with Ida.
Yes.
You mentioned letting Ms. Parcell use your Lexus. You would help her financially in other ways as well, right?
She used my car when hers was broken, or she needed to get one because she had her own car.
And you would pay her credit card bill sometimes?
Sometimes.
You actually gave her a credit card of your own. to you?
Yes, whenever she was buying for me and buying my groceries, yes.
Okay. Do you recall being able to have power of attorney over her bank account at the Bank of Travelers Rest?
I don't recall giving power of attorney.
You don't recall having her power of attorney?
I don't recall it.
Okay. Now, you had a clone of her phone as well, correct?
That's correct.
So, this phone that you had of hers would keep track of everything that was going on in her phone. In other words, it was an actual clone. You could see her incoming and outgoing emails and texts and all of that. Is that not right?
No, it wasn't an exact clone. There were certain applications that we could see. It was mainly for her bills and to make sure that she got home at night.
Okay, but you mentioned also you would use an app called Life 360 to keep track of her too, right?
Yes, and that was on my phone.
Okay, so that was on your phone. That wasn't on the, so the clone phone was for keeping track of what she was doing with her.
It might have been, but I don't remember if it was on that one. So like I said, she had two phones at several times, hers and mine.
And what methods did you use to communicate back and forth by texting and that sort of thing?
You know, call, text, email.
Okay, do you remember what platform you would use to communicate?
At the end, we were using one called Signal.
Of course you were.
That her future, you know, with Mr. Mello, there was something going to happen.
You're muted.
Just saying, don't read the civil suit against this guy and Christina. I know he's not found guilty yet, but by engaging Jane Doe and other minor children in immoral and unlawful sexual acts, by sexually exploiting minor Jane Doe for personal gain and financial benefit, by allowing other adults to engage in the abuse of Jane Doe and in failing to take any precaution to prevent such abuse from occurring, by failing to adequately supervise Jane Doe around adults who the defendant knew or should have known had the potential to cause imminent harm to a minor child, by permitting that Jane Doe to become a victim of sexual abuse, child porn, exploitation, and sexual harassment, and the list goes on and on and on.
And so
Yeah, I'm having a hard time
used Signal,
feeling
which
sorry
we didn't use very long because it was very
Yeah.
difficult to use.
for any of these jokers.
And you mentioned that Ms. Parcell gave up custody of Ida a few months after y'all started dating?
Yes.
This guy is charged with the CP. This is a witness. The other guy is charged with the unaliving.
And she gave up custody to John Mello?
That's correct.
That's probably what the defense is kind of alluding to.
And then at some point, she changed her mind and decided she wanted custody, correct?
I don't know.
And around how old was Ida when she did that?
When she turned over the custody?
She was the mother of the child that was abused.
No, when I think you already told us that Ida was 3 or 4, I think 3 when she gave up custody.
Yes.
How old was Ida when she tried to get custody back?
I don't recall.
Was it years, months after she gave up custody?
I don't recall the time. I just remember the instances that caused her to do it.
Okay, and that was because of her contentious relationship with Mr. Mello?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when John Mello took Aida to Italy, testified somewhat about that already, but that was around October of 2020, correct?
I think so, but I'm
Does
not
that sound
sure.
right? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Does October 2020 sound right?
Yeah, I'd have to get a calendar and work backwards, but yeah.
And you mentioned that when she finally came back, it was in April.
Yes.
of 21.
Yes.
And they were in the Canebrake house at that point?
No, I think they were in the apartment and then moved to the Canebrake house almost immediately.
Okay. Now, you used the term kidnap. You are aware that John Mello was exonerated for that?
Afterwards.
Right.
But not when he was there. He was found guilty by Italy, the state of Italy, and had to return her.
Okay, well, maybe we're using distinctions here, but he was found to have to give her over to Christina, but he wasn't found guilty of any crimes.
That I don't know.
He didn't go to jail.
That I don't know.
Okay. But when he came back here, you were aware that he was exonerated for taking Aida to Italy, right?
After Miss Parcell was dead, yes.
Okay, well, that has nothing to do with it. He was
Has
exonerated.
everything to do with it.
He was exonerated for having taken Aida to Italy because he had custody of Aida. Isn't that true?
Ask your question again.
Probably right, Sue.
This is what they were asking for. So John Mello had custody of Aida when he took her to Italy.
Yes.
Okay.
But that didn't mean she could be taken out of the country without the mother knowing.
Okay, well, you know the court's
Are
exonerated.
you the,
But you know that the Hague Agreement returned her.
Okay, well, I'm talking about in South Carolina. So for
Are you a
him
lawyer?
taking Aida to Italy, since
Yeah, that's a legal conclusion.
I mean-
but also, if he had full custody, and she gave up her custody, and they don't have an agreement that she must sign off. When I went to the U.S. with my kids, I had my ex-wife sign a piece of paper saying because we have shared custody, saying I was allowed to bring the kids on vacation with me. Just because you hear stories about people being holed up for that, especially single men. But if he was in Italy legally, why would he then harass her? I know there allegedly are some WhatsApp messages, but it's going to be interesting to see.
he had custody, he was exonerated for having taken her to Italy.
No, she didn't have custody over the girl, and he would have no access to her because the dad had custody.
Actually, yes.
Okay. And when he took her to Italy, you and Ms. Parcell spent some time trying to find where they were by looking at Facebook and Google and things like that. Is that right?
The context of what you're saying, I don't agree with, but yes, it was quickly found where he was.
Okay. Well, you can explain the answer if you need to.
Mr. Mello likes to use Facebook, and he posted a picture of his daughter to kind of show off that he had her in Italy. In the background, there was a poster that showed where he was.
Okay. And then at that point is when Ms. Parcell took all the steps that you talked about trying to get her to go back, correct?
Correct.
And you did mention that you helped her with that.
When I could.
And you were helping pay her legal bills, and I know you had an agreement where she was going to eventually pay you back, but you were giving her money for attorneys.
Sometimes when she needed it because she was working.
Okay. She made 2 trips to Italy, isn't that right?
That's correct.
And the first time she was gone a couple of weeks,
I don't recall being that long, but it was more than a week.
and Lutina, her sister, went with her the first time?
Yes.
And then the second time she went back by herself,
Correct.
and that's when she returned from with Aida, and then you proposed to her.
Yes.
Okay, now, I want to ask you a little bit about the packages. So, State's Exhibit Number 1 is the one that's dated the 30th of June of 2021. And that's the first one that you received, is that right?
I think so. I just have to look at the dates, but yes, the earliest.
Okay. And this was mailed to your house. And there also were some that were mailed to other locations, but intended for you. Is that right?
I don't think it was immediately, no. That was sent like a warning.
Okay. Well, that was sent first. But where was the other one sent that was intended for you?
To my neighbors and to a place that I frequented.
Okay. And that was a cigar bar called Outlands?
Yes.
Okay. The contents of that have been described, you described as photographs of Ms. Parcell.
Yes.
And you said they were naked photographs, right?
Yes.
Do you recall any of the other materials that were in there?
I think there was like a potential mailing list of where else it was being sent, like a threat.
And do you recall one of the pieces of paper that was sent to you being a website, purportedly from her?
I don't recall it was there, but I was shown that it was.
Okay. And it's a website labeled Escort Advertising and Discussion?
I don't know.
Oh my.
Did you not look at it at that time?
I don't recall, no.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Were you aware of all of this about her past when?
What you're referring to past, it was the pictures that Mr. Mello had taken that they were using.
We're talking about the website.
Same thing on the website. I was told it was the same pictures.
That was what you were told?
That's what I was told.
Okay. Well, the website doesn't have pictures associated with it, right?
No, I don't know.
Okay, did you read the contents of it?
No.
Why did you not read those? Why did you not read
Oh, is that how she met this guy? On her
He was
website?
retired. Yeah, they met at a cigar bar 20 years earlier, so probably not the same cigar bar. But apparently she was on a website. Interesting. Remember, all of February, we are having a 10% off on my OnlyFeed account. Daddy needs to get some money to go to Tennessee.
The information that was in the package I was sent.
Yeah, because I knew it was a threat, and he was constantly trying to separate us and get me to not assist her.
One moment, please. Come here, be a part of that. Sure.
Sidebar.
I'm right around 8:30.
Sorry. So no more questions. No, it's probably kind of like Trooper Proctor, where we'll keep pushing it so it doesn't interfere with the state's case against this guy. I think that that's why nothing has happened yet.
Makes sense. Because
Yeah.
you can't get any of this stuff in, you know?
Yeah, because so far it's just alleged CP. So,
All right, Ms. McInnes, with whom are you employed?
Right now with Fetch Pet Insurance.
And what did you do back in October of 2021?
I was working at Valley Walk Animal Hospital as practice manager.
And what is it?
they were acquaintances at least.
Just manages day-to-day operations, hiring, firings, inventory, stuff like that.
And where is that practice facility?
In Greer, South Carolina.
And on October 13th, 2021, did you have the occasion to interview Christina Parcell?
Yes, I did.
Do you know about what time she arrived and you interviewed her?
It was 8:30.
And how do you know that?
I did watch the video footage, verifying it, but I also had it on my calendar from back then to verify too.
So, so the actual interview, was that interviewed from inside y'all's cameras?
Yes, it was.
And you went
She's the local Marissa. She's hiring and firing people.
back and reviewed that video?
Yes, I did.
And so what time did Christina Parcell arrive to the veterinary clinic?
Right around 8:30.
All right. And what was she interviewing for?
For a veterinary technician role.
And what does a vet technician do?
Basically, like what a nurse does for a doctor, just draws blood, vaccines, stuff like that.
And about what time did that interview conclude?
She left at 8:47.
That's all I have to say.
Anything across?
Just very briefly, Ms. McInnes, is that right?
Yes.
Just a couple of questions for you. Was that a full-time position that she was interviewing for?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Were you aware that she was already employed?
Yes, I was at the time.
Okay.
That was one of the questions I asked her.
Okay, do you know why she was looking for another job?
I didn't ask her that.
Okay.
Buchanan.
But it was a full-time position that she was looking for.
Yes.
All right. That's all I have. Thank you, Your Honor. She can be released from school. Thank you. Anything else? No, Your Honor.
We're going to have a lunch break.
We are going to stop and have a lunch break, and I'm going to ask for y'all to return at 2 o'clock. I told you I'm going to be a broken record, but just like I said yesterday,
2
you are
o'clock?
prohibited from watching any TV coverage of this trial, doing any investigation.
And we have a half-hour delay.
Involved in this case by any means. You're not to look at any.
So that's 2:30. That's 8:30 my time.
I told you yesterday, you got notification notifications on your phone. Hopefully you've turned those off, but please do so. And I just respectfully ask that. As I told you, I
We'll
am
be
gonna
back at
regularly ask
8:20.
if you have had watched or seen anything during the course of this trial. Again, I remind you, it is important to the integrity of this trial, the justice and fairness to the defendant and the state that you consider evidence which comes in through this courtroom. And again, you're not to discuss this case among yourselves until I tell you that.
Yeah, she loves animals in a non-legal way.
Oh, stop it.
Loved animals too much. Hey, Vince. I'm not saying her red rum was justified, but maybe it was. She sounds like an awful person, and I hate to saying that because she can't defend herself. If it's true, and we will probably not be shown that, but if it's true that on both of these people's devices were pictures of her own daughter and another kid in not only undressed but also sexual positions. That's what the civil suit alleges. I don't know if...
we just want to make sure the record is protected regarding our questioning and what we wish to question Mr. Post about. In the outset, I would mention that something new came up during the direct examination of Mr. Post from the prosecutor. He was asked, he asked Brad Post, did you get to know Aida Mello? He answered yes. We believe that would have opened the door to questions about how he got to know her, which would have led into the child pornography. So we stayed away from that line of questioning based on your previous rulings. I would further like to note that all of the questions that were asked during the proffer are questions that we would have asked Mr. Post. But it's our understanding from Your Honor's ruling and from our meeting at the bench that they were areas of lines of questioning that Your Honor deemed out of bounds, and so we stayed away from them. So we just want the record clear that all those questions are one we would have asked them.
Okay, you're protected on the record. Thank you. I will see you all back at 2 o'clock unless there's anything else. Who are you planning on getting through this afternoon?
We're going to get through, we're going to crime scene.
At least it's moving fast.
Yeah.
Have y'all done, well, we can go off the record.
The read camera is going to take a minute.
Okay, y'all can just come up for a second.
We can get through all of the... I want to hear what the rest of that sentence was. How long is the trial supposed to be, anime, over on Rumble? We don't know. No one mentioned anything, but it's a speedy trial so far. All of this will depend highly on the PDF files being introduced. If they get the open door so they can bring it in, I think this guy will have a way better outcome of the case than if they don't have it. I'm sorry, Jan, but that's how it is sometimes.
I mean, that's every case.
Yes,
really.
this guy has nothing to do with the CP. The mom, the victim, and the guy who was just on the stand allegedly had thousands of pictures of CP on their different devices. He's being sued civilly, so is her estate, and he's also being sued criminally, but it hasn't happened yet. So he has multiple counts of CP against him. And the mom has been sued post-homeless after her unaliving. Her estate is also being sued by the daughter and one of the daughter's friends, because I don't know if Jemima shared that civil suit, but don't read it if you don't have a strong stomach, because yeah, that's not funny. Yeah, but the only way this will work is if they can get that into the trial. Then this guy can be home free. I don't know if he can open the door. If he testifies, say, well, I did it because I know they were going crazy on these people. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we got still find out like what involvement he really has. They didn't say much other than
No.
he knew the child's dad.
They are all in. So we're having a long break till 2:30. You can go watch it in the documents section for this case on the Discord, but you will probably need a stress ball while you do it because it's not easy reading. How old is the daughter now? She was 3 and 16, so she must be 12. If he's putting up that he did it because of that, yeah, then he'll be allowed. But then he has to admit it, and he's pled not guilty. So it's going to be interesting. But I'm going to go make myself some dinner and take a little lay down because see if I can get over this. We'll be back at 2:20 Eastern Standard Time, where all of this is sadly going to continue. It seemed interesting, but all of this CP stuff is really horrible, especially because she was 3 at the time. Between 3
Well, we got to
and...
get into the more stuff. We're talking about the CP more than they are.
Yeah, but that's because that's really, really horrible. We're going to go to the crime
Yeah.
scene this afternoon.
I want to see all that stuff. I want to see what evidence they have against him. That's where I'm interested in.
I don't have any soup ready, so and it's not. We don't have much of that. You can get it brought to your house. So I'm just going to do some ravioli and go put myself under a big blanket and sweat for half an hour. Oh, I have plenty of time. That's an hour and 20 minutes till I have to be back.
Yeah.
See you all later. Remember to
Bye.
do all the YouTube things, and I'll redirect to this afternoon stream, so you can put the notification thingies on, and I can do all the YouTube thing. Hasta la taco.
Bye.
Where's my outro?
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100. Because it is 100% correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Go
All right, I'm in love.
back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't have cared.
You wouldn't have cared?
No.
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
No.
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
Probably did. Everybody has.
So there-
Everybody has.